Any luck? Is this working? Is the sound okay and also working now? I'm so practiced it. Every day I sit down and I record a static video, but the like live streaming uses a completely different interface. I mean, it has this whole like YouTube thing that you have to get right on top of it. But you can hear me now, right? Everything is saying that the microphone is recording at this point. If you're in the sound of my voice, as John Hodgman likes to say on his podcast, if you're within the sound of my voice, let me know. Okay, thank you, Seymour. Awesome, perfect, thank you. Okay, I wanted to start things off with something very exciting. Anyone who saw my my Bloomborough Win-A-Box video, the Bloomborough box was mailed to my house, the Japanese play booster packs. So before we get into actually reviewing drafts, I'm gonna do a, what do they call this? An unboxing video. This is my first ever unboxing video. I'll open one pack. This is the only booster box that I actually have that I'm going to basically ever open. Everything else I'm gonna sell, but I just love Bloomborough so much. Let's see what I get. Ooh, Cam. Okay, cool. Hello, Cam. Good to know what to call you. There we go. There's our beautiful booster box that we won in an Arena Direct. The video is something like the most I've ever wanted to win a box. Here's a booster pack. Let's see what we get. There is one card in Bloomborough that's worth any money, pretty much. It's the it's that like rare land, the tree land that makes mana equal to a creature type. Fun fact, actually, I'll show you right now. There is a card in Bloomborough that I picked over that land one time. This is like the most embarrassing thing I could ever say. But there's an artifact. Let's see. I'm looking for an artifact in Bloomborough that had some like fixing that I thought was better than that land that like taps to add mana equal to something to do with the number of creatures. A Fountainport Bell. Not a great card in Bloomborough, but I was just desperate for fixing. And I picked the Fountainport Bell over the land, and this was in paper. And the person next to me like freaked out because they were like, what the heck did you just pass to me? And I was like, I don't even think that land is very good, but maybe it's better fixing for me right here. But I don't even have that many creatures of the same creature type. And I had no idea that it was worth like 20 bucks. So I was telling them like, yeah, I don't know if it's that great, whatever. And then they were like, you passed me a card that like paid for my draft. And I was like, oh, whoopsies. Okay. Anyway, so here's what we've got. It's on enough of a delay that I'm not sure if you'll have time to tell me if it's in focus. So I'll just like move in and out on focus. So we started with, this is actually a pretty good token. This is the sword thingy, the +1/+1 sword. Okay, what's this card? Oh, what was this? So this is a Japanese play booster box, by the way. So I'm gonna have to remember what these cards are. This thing, what? This is something like, I can only tell from the art. It's something like a pyroclasm, basically. Something like that. Okay, what have we got here? Ooh, a forest. Which forest is this? Nice. This is the Springtime Forest, I believe. I love the Bloomborough full art lands. Yeah, for anyone who's just joining, I won this Bloomborough play booster box. You can see the video. I won 3 of them. 2 of them are behind me and they'll sit on my shelf of trophies. But one of them I won and I've just put it somewhere around here. Here it is. So like I won this in an Arena Direct and it just arrived at my house. So I figured why not start this stream with an unboxing. All right. Then we get, oh, that's the rare. Let's not spoil the surprise. We got a Thought Shucker, a card that so sadly underperformed in draft. I always really wanted that Dimir Rats deck to work. Oh yeah, this is the 3/1 that it's a lot like the one in this set, I think. You sacrifice it maybe to destroy an artifact or enchantment, something like that. Let's see. Oh, Night Whirl. This is like draw 2, surveil 2 or something like this. Pretty mediocre common in that draft format. Oh, this guy's kind of sweet. This is a lot like this card that people love, Pest Mascot in the current set, where I'm always saying like cards that are synergistic, especially like green and black has a 2/3 for 3 that has, if you do the synergy thing, then it gets bigger. It like gets a +1/+1 counter, and that happens once a turn. That is typically not a good card, and this is a good example of that. That's what this squirrel does. You remove something from your graveyard and it gets a +1/+1 counter. Yeah, this guy's +1/+0 and first strike draw card. No, +1/+0 and Haste, draw card, something random. Rudy Tooty, my absolute favorite card of the set. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch my videos. I would pack one, pick on that guy all the time. A War Strike, something enchantment and something can't block. This guy's a 3/4 raccoon that maybe gives all your other raccoons trample or something random like that. Not really a card I was looking to play a lot. Oh yeah, Splash Portal, one of the greatest cards ever. You like bounce a card or flicker a creature or something and then draw a card if it was a frog or something like that. Oh yeah, the 1/2 that when you target your mice, target it, all your mice get +1/+1 or something along those lines. Wow, it's cool. Drafting in Japanese would be such a challenge for me since I don't speak Japanese. The ultimate build around, the builder's talent. Builder's talent because it's a build around. And then finally the rare, which I don't think is worth anything. But cool card. I don't actually even remember what this is. It's something like reveal the top X cards and then do something that didn't matter in limited. All right, let's start drafting, or let's start reviewing drafts rather. So someone did put a draft in a post for me to review. So I'm going to start off with that one. And everyone else, please marshal your draft logs for review. Cam, if you want me to look at the 11 lands that you drew off the top 14 cards of your deck, send that log over whenever it's done. But maybe that would just be too upsetting. Okay, so let's pull up the draft log that somebody sent me earlier. And we're going to have a nice, calm, chill, instructional video for everybody. Okay, here's a log that someone asked me to look at. I have not looked at this log before. And please do go ahead and just say what you would do in the chat. Comments on the drafts are always welcome. I just ask as a ground rule, you know, be respectful of the people who generously have shared their drafts with us. So, you know, that's just a default ground rule. We're all going to be nice to the people who share their drafts with us. Because it's a brave thing to do to show a draft on stream. Okay, I think I just need to slightly shift the view so you can see all of the cards. Maybe if I zoom in a little, no, that's too much. And that will give you a good view. Okay, I just need to, like, my settings are really obviously like very optimized for when I'm just recording and then I'll post to YouTube later. Just need to do a little bit of technical stuff for live streaming. Okay, all right. Baited into playing a tie collar. Baited in playing tie collar and brain freeze. So someone played that on you, brain freeze you. That's true. Absolutely no such thing as a bad drafter. Yeah, exactly. You mean post in here? Exactly. Yeah, you can just drop a log. I'm not sure if you can, I don't know if you can put a link in. If YouTube doesn't let you put a link in, just put like this end piece here, like 17lands.com/draft/ and then just put everything after that. And I can just, bam, post it into my URL and I'll get your draft back. Okay. All right, pack one, pick one. What are we looking at here? So the rare is Comforting Counsel. I actually tried this card. I thought this card would be like, I don't know. I never thought it was going to be good, but I really did want to try it out and give it a good chance. So this is the 2-mana enchantment. When you gain life, put a growth counter on it. If there are 5 or more growth counters on it, creatures you control get +3/+3. I don't know, like, if you can play it, immediately trigger a way of gaining life or two. If you're triggering 1 or 2 times a turn a way of gaining life, then it becomes an anthem. Anthems are very, very, very good in limited, traditionally. Giving your creatures +X/+X. When I say anthem, I'm always trying to remind myself I should be inclusive to people who aren't as old as I am. So Glorious Anthem, creatures you control get +1/+1 is a classic version of this effect. People call this an anthem. Comforting Counsel is like a potentially like strong upside version of an anthem. Having said that, it turns out to be so hard to turn this on. I tried it and I did it one time and then I think I failed to do it twice. And that's an unacceptably, if 2/3 of the time, that's my anecdote, but if 2/3 of the time your card is not doing anything, I mean, this card literally does not do anything if you don't trigger it 5 times. That's an unacceptable failure rate, right? That has to be a pretty good card 1/3 of the time to make up for the 2/3 of the time that it does literally nothing. If it was 3 growth counters for +2/+2, I think it would be better. I totally agree. +2/+2, when you think about it, is like pretty much equivalently good as +3/+3, I would say. That's my controversial take. So what would I do in this pack? So I can see you basically open a pack, let's just say without a rare. And you were right to avoid it. We can see also, by the way, a lot of people are not avoiding it. Check it out. Average last seen at 4.3. That means most people are picking this between 4th and 5th pick on average. Game in hand win rate 45%. That has got to be one of the lowest game in hand win rate cards in the set. And obviously, game in hand win rate is not everything, but let's look up where it's sitting. It is literally, is this the lowest win rate card that they have data on? No, Choreographed Sparks is lower, and Biblioplex Tomekeeper. Oh, I'm kind of surprised because this one at least does something, right? This is at least a creature with power and toughness, right? So that's kind of funny that that one's lower. But yeah, basically, it is about the worst thing that you could be doing. So immediately, I actually immediately just want to put this out there. If you are in the sound of my voice, as they say, don't take Comforting Counsel 4th pick. That ALSA should be 14, not 4, or 13, maybe 12. You have my permission to take Comforting Counsel if the only other cards in the pack are Biblioplex Tomekeeper and Choreographed Sparks. In any other situation, just pick the other card, right? If I have a pack with Comforting Counsel, Choreographed Sparks, and Biblioplex Tomekeeper and a basic land, you can take Comforting Counsel. But actually, if you're not in green-black, just take the basic land, pass a Comforting Counsel, and maybe you'll trick that person into thinking that it's a playable card. Okay, anyways, so who submitted this? I want to be able to address you by name. Federico. Okay, Federico, good job, good job. Good job not taking that. All right, so what would I take here? I'm all over Bitter Triumph. Bitter Triumph is such a good card. It looks like it has a big cost. Discard a card or pay 3 life. The fact is, in almost every situation, removing your opponent's bomb at instant speed for so little mana is so worth paying the 3 life. And there are also situations, the discard a card is a very nice modular out that it gives you to say, in the rare situations where you actually really don't want to pay 3 life, like your opponent has a bomb and it's the late game and you just need to get rid of it, but you can't afford to pay 3 life because they've already bonked you down to a really low life total. You can just pitch a card and maybe if you have a land left over in your hand, that gives you an out. Now, one thing to say though is also people like me, I've played like a reasonable amount of like cube and this kind of thing, will also tend to overestimate this card for the simple reason that it is synergistic with some plans in other ways of playing Magic, specifically cube. The fact that you can discard a card for 2 mana is actually a good thing in formats that have Reanimator as a theme. So a common thing that you would do with a Bitter Triumph is you would discard your Atraxa as the card that you discard. So I discard my Atraxa, and then I'm going to reanimate my Atraxa once it's in the graveyard, right? I just pop Atraxa back in, and that's a 3 mana way of getting Atraxa from my hand into play when it would usually be 7 mana. In this set, discard a card is a downside. So it's not nearly as good as you're used to if you've played these other ways of playing Magic. And actually, I know I'm going on a huge diversion here, but this is more about learning than about specifically going back in time and winning Federico's draft. So the numbers below the card there, ALSA 2.87 and game in hand win rate 58%. This means that people are picking this card between 2nd and 3rd pick on average. Game in hand win rate 57.9% is not like the greatest card you've ever seen though. Looking at Bitter Triumph, this is a classic case of a card that I won't say it's like super overdrafted, but it's maybe a little bit overdrafted. It's sitting at B-, which is good. It's like 3 percentage points higher than the average win rate. But let's compare it to, okay, I don't know, I guess like Matter Bending Mage around that same win rate, actually substantially higher win rate, is picked on average 1 pick later. So Matter Bending Mage, higher win rate, picked later than Bitter Triumph. Bitter Triumph, lower win rate, picked earlier. So I would still be taking Bitter Triumph, but I don't want people to take this as, yes, pack 1, pick 1 Bitter Triumph and be thrilled about it. It's fine. It's good. I would be taking the Bitter Triumph over the Potioner's Trove. I respect that Potioner's Trove has a higher probability of going in your deck, but I think it's at the cost of more power. That's funny. If you look at the win rates, Potioner's Trove picked 3 percentage points less than Bitter Triumph, or 3 places less than Bitter Triumph in the ALSA, and has a totally similar win rate. So hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're right. Okay. Potioner's Trove may be on average the most winning card in the pack. That's interesting. Okay, but anyways, no big disagreement with you here. Good job not taking that comforting counsel. Oh, I also want to take off your pick so that you're not influencing me. What would I do here? What would we do in this pack? I would say probably, okay. We've just taken a Potioner's Trove, but we should basically view that as a whiff. And also, most of the time, you should just not think about your pack 1 pick 1 when it comes to pack 1 pick 2. I saw already that you took Molten Note, and I don't hate that decision at all. I mean, that's just a really good card in probably the best deck right now in Premier Draft, Lorehold. So not just the best deck, but also probably the most underdrafted deck, the lane that you're most likely to be happy to get into. So Molten Note, I really don't hate at all. It's just expressing a preference to be in that lane if it's open. I might be more likely to take a Johnny's Response here, as clearly a slightly, I don't even know if it's clear. It is probably a slightly less powerful card, but at the same time, it does destroy target creature without a condition, and it could go in either one of 2 decks, so it's a more flexible pick. So probably if you just drop me into this pack with no context, I would just take a Johnny's Response. But you take Molten Note, that's perfectly fine. I mean, Molten Note is like not something that you can really complain about. So makes sense, you took the Molten Note. Okay, on to the next one. I would be pretty happy with this pack. I would be pretty happy with this pack. This pack has many good options. I mean, there are 2 different options you could take. One is the Snarl Song, which is just a bomb in this format, it turns out. I hugely underestimated this card. Yeah, hard to agree with Bitter Triumph. Exactly. Second option is Sloth. I do think the Sloth, I love that kind of like 4/4 for 4 kind of thing. The 4/4 for 4 reach tends to be underestimated in recent sets. Green has like a 4/4 for 4 with reach. Sometimes it has trample, usually has a synergistic ability. This time it's the Sloth, and yeah, I like that every time. I was playing that so much in Ninja Turtles, and it just worked great for me. Okay. So I would be all over this Snarl Song, especially given that we snapped up a Potioner's Trove pack 1 pick 1. If I have, again, you shouldn't like index on what you did pack 1 pick 1 too much. It is your least important pick in your draft. It's the pick with the least information out of the whole draft. And getting married to your pack 1 pick 1 is a great way to lose some games. Having said that, if I have a Snarl Song, I'm looking to pick up a Potioner's Trove at some point in the draft for sure. So the fact that I already have a Potioner's Trove means I don't have to do that after taking the Snarl Song. Yeah, Snarl Song as a bomb here is absolutely great. Feed the Swarm, is another option, absolutely. Starting in Final Fantasy, I'm sorry to you because it's kind of all downhill from there, but I'm sure we'll get some bangers back. Okay, been really into the format. Yeah, I do like this format as well. Yeah. It would have been better if you started during a terrible format and then like everything went up, but okay. Yeah, 3-color is a whole other, so I'm thinking of actually doing some analysis that I'm going to package into a video about splashing, like how exactly you splash. Because obviously you can tell by my YouTube handle, I'm very enthusiastic about splashing, but splashing with discipline. Discretion is a better part of splashing. That's what I always say. And there's definitely not just an art, but a science to splashing. So Simba, keep an eye out for that video. It will break down the do's and don'ts of 3-color and more. Okay, so I would be all over Snarl Song. Feed the Swarm would not be the worst. And by the way, for people who are just joining, if you have a draft that you would like some feedback on, go ahead and drop a link in the chat. If it doesn't let you post a link, no one has yet tried posting a link. So if it doesn't let you post a link, just copy this like numeric identifier at the end of the 17 lanes thing, and I'll just paste it into my browser, and then I'll get your draft that way. So you can be the subject of a draft review, just like Federico's draft is right now. Okay, so all over Snarl Song, then I would take the Feed the Swarm, but Snarl Song is the pick in my opinion. Oh yeah, and I didn't see what you did, but you took the Snarl Song. Awesome. So apparently Divergent Equation is awesome, and the good thing about Divergent Equation is that you can Divergent Equation your Snarl Song back and then recast it. And you know what's worse than your opponent playing a Snarl Song is your opponent playing 2 Snarl Songs. By the way, this already is not going to happen this draft, but something I desperately want to do is use Page Loose Leaf, which is a terrible card. Have like 10 copies of Page in my deck because no one's taking it, right? And then have 1 instant that is like the best. What's the best instant? Probably okay, so it could be a deck with Moment of Reckoning, let's say. And I want Moment of Reckoning to be the only instant or sorcery in my entire deck. And then the idea is every copy of Page you turn into a copy of Moment of Reckoning. Because I play a Page, can immediately discard another copy of Page, reveal cards until I hit Moment of Reckoning, put that into my hand, and the rest go on the bottom of my library. So that's like my idea for a build around. I'm really hoping I get to do it this set because that sounds totally awesome. The way to get into it, I think, is the one problem with that is you definitely want a lot of instants and sorceries in your Moment of Reckoning deck. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's Snarl Song. Maybe that's the one. Anyways, started in 7th edition Odyssey. I think you all may have me beat. I started around Nemesis. Okay, so yeah, I'm all over Divergent Equation here. What did you pick? Saner. Okay, I don't hate that idea at all. I mean, it makes treasure tokens. It helps you search for your Snarl Song. Yeah, that looks good to me. I didn't even really think about that, but yeah, that makes sense to me. The only issue with Saner that I see is like you are starting to rack up a lot of different colors of pips. So when you're doing like a 5-color, and Federico, you may already know this, but just speaking to the community, when you are doing a lot of colors, when you're playing a 5-color deck, the way that I always think about it is I'm trying to build a 1 or 2 color core, and then I have some splashes on top of that. So the worst place you can end up is having all the pips of your cards spread out evenly across a bunch of different colors, and you can't name what your main color is, right? You do not want to be in that situation. You're just going to end up mana screwed. What you want is to be, let's say, 15 green cards, and then a few each of blue, red, black, whatever. Or maybe like 17 or 20 green or blue cards, and then like 3 to 7 bombs in other colors, right? So keeping that mono color, or as close as possible to monocolor core, is key. Having said that, it's not a big deal pack 1, pick 4. You're still exploring, you're still figuring it out. For all we know, we're about to get shipped a Moment of Reckoning or an Arc of Hunger, and suddenly we're gonna pivot to white aggro, right? It's pack 1, pick 4. It's such early days. We can't really optimize that much around like, this card is gonna go in my deck definitely, and so I need to be able to afford its pips. That's more of a consideration for like pack 2, pick 12 or something. Having said that, I do just want to flag like, yeah, okay, we are across a lot of different colors right now. So eventually, you know, we're still exploring. We're in the exploratory phase. Here, I definitely would want to take... Oh, Simba, I'm saying the opposite. Final Fantasy is notoriously like an awesome format. That was like one of the best limited formats, or at least one of the most popular limited formats among people who play a lot of limited that they've ever done. Some people say that's like their favorite format of all time. So I was saying like if you started during Final Fantasy, everything else might seem like worse to you. It's like you're starting at that top of the mountain and then we start walking down, but everyone else is like, we've been walking up this mountain for ages. Final Fantasy was the peak. Okay, so what are we gonna do here? This is a really interesting pack. The question is, do we start leaning in okay, seriously, I have to like contain myself because I could talk for, I don't know, like an hour about this pack. This is such an interesting position to be in. The best card in this pack, I think, and I actually haven't looked closely at the win rate data, but just from my experience of playing with these cards, I actually think the best card in this pack is Stirring Honormancer. Let's see what the data say about that. 58.6% is a good card. Yeah, okay, so the data might even agree with me that it's the most winning, does it? Whoa, there we go. I've still got it. It is the most winning card in the pack as well. So Stirring Honormancer, to me, this is a signal. I didn't think there were signals about white aggro yet. Well, we got past a Feed the Swarm, but that's pick 3, so a little early for signals. We technically got past a black-white land, but those are not really signals. That's too early in the draft. So I would say Stirring Honormancer is our first signal towards white-black, but it's a pretty strong signal. This card, actually, the video that I have coming out tomorrow, I make this comment, so this will be familiar if you watch my video tomorrow. Worst case scenario, this card is a 4/5 for 5 draw a card, but it gets better. The reason I say that is when it enters, you look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of creatures you control. If you only have one creature, you draw 1 card and you don't put anything into your graveyard. X equals 1, you draw 1 card. The thing is, enters triggers like this, the creature actually sees itself. So Stirring Honormancer enters, and if you have an empty board at that point, it sees itself, X equals 1, you pick up a card and put it into your hand. So worst case scenario, it's a 4/5 for 5 with flexible mana, somewhat flexible mana, draw a card. That's just a good card already. 4/5 for 5, draw a card is just a good card. This thing gets better though. If I have 10 creatures, well, I can actually mill myself pretty easily, which I almost discover in the video that's posting tomorrow. But if I have 10 creatures, I look at the top 10 and I pick the best card out of the top 10. If you have a bomb anywhere in your deck, you know, and you haven't seen it yet and you're halfway through the game, you have now like a 50% chance of finding your bomb right there and then. So Stirring Honormancer is a good magic card. So the question is, do we pivot towards the signal, or do we pick one of the many cards that would go in our Converge deck? And I'll name 5. Obviously, I would play Shattered Sanctum or Paradox Gardens. Dual lands are good. Noxious Newt would totally go in the deck. It doesn't filter for colors, which makes it worse than this Rudy Tooty that I just unboxed at the unboxing portion of this video at the beginning from the Japanese Play Booster box that I just got delivered to my house from winning it in the Arena Direct. There's a Potioner's Trove, which I would not invest in. Like, I don't even know if you want to play 2 of this, maybe. I'm curious what people in the chat think. I don't know if you want to even play 2 Potioner's Troves in the Converge deck. Could be a lot of just do nothing. I think they don't stack well at all. Like, gain 2 a turn is really good. Gain 4 a turn, in how many situations is that really better than gain 2 a turn? Probably you'd usually rather have a creature and be gaining 2 every turn than no creature and be gaining 4 every turn. So I'd probably rather invest in a Noxious Newt. And then finally, there is Archaic's Agony. Clearly a good card. Don't get me wrong. Don't take this too far. But Archaic's Agony is, I've had some disappointing experiences with it. A lot of the time in my Converge deck, I'm sitting on 3 or 4 colors of mana by turn 5. Not yet 5 color. You're not hitting 5 colors of mana by turn 5, right? So I'm sitting on 3 or 4 colors and I want to kill your creature. I can kill your 2/2 and I can get a card, basically kill your 2/2, draw a card for 5. That's good. I mean, it's perfectly fine. Deal 2 damage to a creature, draw a card for 5 mana. Would you play that? I would play it, totally. But it only scales up to 5. And as it scales up, you don't get to draw a card anymore. So I found this very awkward. I think a game in hand win rate, it says 57.3%. The way I would say to interpret that is some C or C+ cards are like fine. They're just fine as a baseline. A card like Archaic's Agony, I think, is either great or terrible, and it averages out to good, like kind of pretty good. But I would not, like, removal, Converge payoff, splashy cards, they often look to us like this is a bomb. I would not think of it as a bomb. I would think of it as a pretty good card. I have some chat to catch up on. Hello, Andrew Revolver. Thank you very much for saying so. Really appreciate that. Pick Newt or Gardens. I don't hate it, but honestly, I'm going to tell you all right now, my pick is Honormancer. As soon as I see a signal, I'm so willing to abandon whatever my plan has been and go towards that signal. And the thing about Honormancer is it could be a good payoff in a Converge deck. My Converge deck could be like base green-black with a little bit of a white splash, and then I play the Honormancer off of that. 4 or 5 for 5 is not just a white aggro piece. This could be a good control card. 4 or 5 for 5 draw card could be a good control card. The Q players, yeah, Ninetales, yes, absolutely. I can definitely do that one up next. I'll pull that one up. The one with the cube players for sure. Just grab that one. It's in the game review section, yeah. I will grab that one and queue it up for next time. Here we go. 2 high-powered cube players. Okay, I've got it right here. All right, we'll do that one next, Ninetales. Thanks for pointing that out. Okay, so we've one in the queue. Federico mentioned the bread acronym. Yeah, go see Federico. If you watch this replay, go back and look at Cam's comment there. Definitely good advice. Okay, yeah, Ninetales, enjoy the tabletop game. That's cool. Okay, all right. So I'm on Honormancer. Noxious Newt, to me personally, I think this is trying to make something happen. It's go check out my signals video, because there's something that I always talk about that I really want to explain now, but I actually put together a visualization. So if you scroll down in my channel, you'll see this video I did on how to read signals. And I want to talk a little bit about that visualization, but I want you to have the visualization in mind when I say it. So basically, you see you have the quality of cards you have so far, and you're trying to pay attention to, is there another color or color combination where I'm starting to see cards that are good at an increasing velocity to the cards that are in my colors. And I would say Stirring Honormancer is what I call the initial signal, the first jump in quality outside of the colors that you're considering already. And what you're doing by taking Newt, in my view, is sacrificing the quality of the cards that you're taking overall too early, because you are having in mind an investment that came with zero information attached to it. You were stepping along a curve just because that was your first guess about what to do. Potioner's Trove was pack one, pick one. You just made a pure guess, knowing nothing about the other people at the table or what they plan to do. That Potioner's Trove was the way to go, right? And then you did find a Snarl Song, but let's remind ourselves that Snarl Song was pack one, pick three. We could argue that almost all of the time, you should take a Snarl Song above whatever else was in this pack one, pick one, and pack one, pick two. But for all we know, the person who opened this pack opened a Moment of Reckoning and an Emeritus of Ideation or something, and then you get a Snarl Song, but both of those people might strongly consider Converge. So I would take this Snarl Song with a grain of salt. It's something that you have, but it may not represent that you're going to get good Converge cards in the future. Okay. So here, I would just take the most powerful cards in the pack. And this is a simple way that a lot of people recommend drafting. Just iteratively, repeatedly, take the best card in the pack, one after another, after another, after another. And if you do that, you will eventually get clear signals and find a way to go. But if your first 8 picks don't cohere into a deck, that's not necessarily a problem. Okay. Here, well, we actually are getting some green. We are getting some black. I mean, I do see, like, first of all, you're getting more reason to be Converge. I do think this begins to be a signal. Timorg, go right ahead, drop it in. Yeah, I'm gonna be here for another. I'll do like another hour and a half of this for sure. Well, another like maybe even hour and a half, 2 hours. So definitely still happy to take submissions. Drop either a link into the chat right here, or if YouTube doesn't let you drop a link, just copy this portion after it says draft. Oh, I'm sorry. I just realized, oh yeah, you can see that. Okay. So just copy this portion, like the 9C4 blah, 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 blah up here, and just pop that into the chat, and I can paste that into my browser. That's if YouTube blocks you from sending a link. At decision points like this, where a clear signal isn't taken and sends someone else into white black, how do you evaluate the rest of the draft? Really, really interesting question. This is something I've thought about a lot, and to be quite honest, I don't know that I have a great answer to it, but tell me what you think, Greaseball and everyone else. So basically, LSV makes this point. He says, people get into this like meta mind game about what I'm telling the rest of the table in my signals. And he says, most people would win way more if they thought exclusively about what signals am I receiving and stopped thinking about what signals am I sending. And I don't know, like empirically, I don't have data to support that that's true, but I actually strongly believe it from my personal experience. I think the moment I stopped getting in my head about what will this tell the rest of the people at the table about what I'm doing, I got better. I was just winning more. And to me, actually now, it is a signal that someone is like somewhere on the learning curve of draft when I hear people go like super deep in this rabbit hole of like, oh, I was going to take the best card, but then I didn't because I thought I would be sending this other card that someone would think is actually saying that I'm not in the color. And then later on, pack 2, I would get. I think the reason that falls apart is because it just requires so many different things to be going on for it to actually matter. It's like a complicated chain of reasoning where you're making a guess about how someone you don't know is going to interpret something that you're wordlessly passing to them, and then how that is going to affect their future decision making as a consequence. It's so much more hypothetical and tenuous, if you know what I mean, than just taking the best card. So I think, given that humans have finite cognition and we have to like choose what to focus on and make good decisions about, I personally strongly recommend, along with LSV, just focus on the signals you're receiving. Just focus on picking the best cards given what you think other people are doing. Think way less about what am I sending to that person. And another thing that I think people should spend zero brain power on, actually, this I feel much more strongly about. Something you should spend zero brain power on when you're drafting is guessing what other people are doing for its own sake. There's a feeling of embarrassment when you're sitting at a pod, like at Friday Night Magic or in paper, and everyone flips out their deck and starts deck building, and you realize you're drafting right next to another person who's also drafting Prismari. And you both are like, oh, shucks. Oh, we both drafted Prismari. I thought it was open, whatever. And I do think, I definitely feel it in myself. To avoid that feeling of embarrassment, especially in paper drafts, we often spend a lot of brain power being like, I need to make sure the person to my right isn't in exactly my colors, or else I'm going to look like, a bird brain, right? Don't think about that. If you never speculate directly on what the person next to you is doing, you may have a better experience, because it doesn't actually matter. If the person to my right is in green black and they pass me green black bomb after green black bomb, who cares? That's actually what I should be doing. I'm hooked up, right? It doesn't matter to me that they're in green black, or it shouldn't. What matters is I'm taking the best cards in my seat. And there could even be like a once in a century fluke where you both open packs. This definitely happens. I've definitely broken down drafts with friends, like when I draft in a pod with friends of mine who are good drafters, and we break down what happened in the draft. And at the end we flip up our cards and we see that we were like colliding with each other. Like the person next to me was in the exact same colors as me. And then we break down like, how did you get into that? Why did you think that was open, etc. And it kind of all adds up and makes sense. In those situations, probably it actually was correct for us to be in the same color pair. So this is all a bit of a rabbit hole, a bit of a divergence. But what I'm saying is, like, if you just purely focus on reacting to the signals that you're receiving, you'll probably do better, because you're spending less brain power on things that are just simply going to affect your number of wins and the quality of your deck a lower proportion of the time. All right. Unless you're in the top 0.1% and playing in person, take the best card. To be quite honest, okay, go back and look at Seth Mansfield's Pro Tour top 8 draft, or whatever it was. It might have not been a top 8, but like there was a draft that Seth Mansfield did in Lorwyn. He was drafting elves. The person to his right was drafting elves. The person to that person's right was drafting elves. And I believe the person to that person's right was drafting elves. And these top players, this entire half of the pod, all in a row, were just taking elf card after elf card after elf card. Not because they're fools. They probably knew what was going on. But in that situation, you can even listen to, like, I think Paul Cheon was a commentator there, and Marshall, like, they were commenting on what's going on, and they're saying, like, he knows he's being cut. His point is, I'm at the end of the train of being cut, and pack 2, someone's going to pass me elves. So, and his claim, which who am I to say he's wrong, was like, that's just the best deck in this seat. Even though these people are cutting me, the way we open the cards and the quality of cards that we're opening, these, just line up so that elves is the place to be. So it definitely happens that like the person next to you is in the same exact deck you're in, and it's just the right thing to be doing. Even if you're in the top 0.1%, they don't even seem to spend that much brain power on that kind of metagame. They're just playing the game. Okay. Saw this in your Discord earlier. Oh, yes. The 2 times that you wrote down the little arrows that you were seeing, you went 3-0. Every other time you vibed it out and got wrecked. That's a great signal. Well, okay, I should not say signal. It's confusing, but that's a great sign, right? That's a great sign that, like, if you really focus on what signals you're receiving, then you feel your win rate increase. That's awesome, because that points you directly to, like, this is an area I can affect to be winning more drafts. So that sounds fantastic, Kentaru. Okay, love your content. Yeah, thank you very much, Thomas Matthew. Really appreciate that. And thanks, Cam. Yeah. Really, really nice of you to say. Okay, so I'm gonna guess you took the Transcendent Archaic. It's an open question, but I am gonna flag, like, it's an open question for me. Do you take Transcendent Archaic? Do you take Knockout Maneuver? Is this a signal to pivot green-black? Maybe. Lewin seems really good when people play it against me. It's kind of a 5-drop in a certain sense, because I think you want to play it and immediately activate it. So I think of this card as like a 3/4 and a 1/1 for 5 that kind of demands an answer. So that's a pretty good package. I've been pretty impressed with this card. I don't think I've actually managed to cast it one time. Probably, maybe I'm not prioritizing it enough. But anyways, I'm guessing you took the Transcendent Archaic here. To be quite honest with you, one pick ago, I would have taken the Honormancer over all of these Converge cards. This pick, I would be on Cost of Brilliance. That's where I would be at here. Maybe I would go back towards the Transcendent Archaic. It's a tough choice. Maybe I would take the Transcendent Archaic because if you do end up in Converge, you're going to want to have it. And you could argue it's the best card in the pack. But check it out. Even 17 lands win rate says Cost of Brilliance has a 57.7% win rate. Transcendent Archaic has a 57.7% win rate. Yep. So these are like equally good cards exactly on average. I would probably just be using the Signal as a tiebreaker here. I saw the Honormancer. I saw a great card in Cost of Brilliance. I think people are way underestimating this card. Actually, empirically, look at this. Average last CNAT picked right after pick 6. Transcendent Archaic, average last CNAT picked 1 pick earlier. Identical win rate. So that's just a cognitive bias that people have towards playing the flashier card or the flashier archetype. Are we happy playing Lumen in a lowish creature Converge deck? Could be. I've never tried that. It could be. How happy are you to be having black as a main color in your Converge deck? I don't think I want Lumen on the splash usually. Doesn't seem like it would really merit that. But yeah, could be. I mean, sure. Okay, but I would be on Honormancer into Cost of Brilliance here. But I'm guessing you picked the Archaic. Knockout Maneuver. Oh, that's cool. I like the way you're thinking. I think this is actually probably a better pick than the Archaic. It goes well with your Newt. I don't know why 17 Lanes is highlighting the Newt. Oh, previous pick. I thought 17 Lanes was like synergy. Yeah. It goes kind of well with your Newt. I mean, yeah, no, it goes well because it's a bite spell and your Newt has Death Touch, so that's good. Cost over the Knockout Maneuver even with Newt and Snarl. Cost over the Knockout Maneuver? Is cost a card? Or, oh, Cost of Brilliance over Knockout Maneuver even with Root and Snarl? Yeah. I would be torn here, but yeah, because Snarl Song was pack 1 pick 3. Newt was, we just took it, but we took it over a Stirring Honormancer. So the fact that we just got the signal of the Honormancer, and by the way, Shattered Sanctum, and then we got the signal of Cost of Brilliance, yeah, I would take that more seriously than whatever pack 1 pick 3 I had, because I'm not thinking about my pack 1 pick 3. I'm thinking about my pack 3 pick 7, right? Snarl Song is all well and good, but Snarl Song in a deck where I get cut is garbage. Well, Snarl Song is still pretty good, but the deck where I get cut would be garbage. Signal equals data. If the approach has been to use data to get better, do you agree that signal reading is live data analysis? I love that thinking. It's a very Bayesian way of playing Magic, and I think that's one of the beautiful things about draft. Whoops, I revealed your pick. I'm gonna pretend I didn't see that. What would I do here? Whoa, awkward pack. There's just not much going on. There is not much going on. I mean, maybe I would just take the Diary of Dreams. So I saw that you took Fractal Mascot. I kind of feel like we're just following our pack 1 pick 1 here. But what would I take here? Nothing really speaks to me. I probably am on Diary of Dreams. Arnon has had a horrible win rate and a very high pick placement. People are picking it between pick 4 and pick 5, and it's winning like a Arnon is winning like a pick 8 or 9 probably. How do all of these have such high pick rates? People are picking it at the same place as, or it's winning less often than Glorious Decay, which people pick 8. Arnon is winning less often. I'm not totally sure what's up with that. I know that there are some sweet things that you can do. My friend at the RCQ got off this Cauldron of Essence with Arnon combo, and he was bringing back the Pest. What do you call this thing? Like the Pest, not Pest Mascot, Teacher's Pest. He was bringing back the Teacher's Pest. Shout out to my buddy who was doing this. He was bringing back the Teacher's Pest. he was figuring out ways to get it killed or sacrifice it. Then Arnon would drain for 2 because a creature you control with power toughness less than 1 died. So Arnon would drain for 2 and the Cauldron would drain for 1. So he was draining for 3, deal 3, gain 3 every turn. And his pest, the reason you can do it every turn is your teacher's pest, you can bring it back to the battlefield tapped. So Arnon is a heavily synergistic card. That's the thing about it. So if you pick up Arnon, you don't really want to do it at this stage in the draft, but it is a card that has some synergies. So honestly, at this point, let's see. Yeah, I guess I don't hate Fractal Mascot. I'm a little disappointed with it. Google what Bayesian means. Yeah, I'll not go on that that divergence. I think out of respect to my viewers, I won't turn this into a Bayesian stats lecture, but maybe I'll do this as maybe I'll do that as a static video so you don't have to watch live and you can skip through. Okay. Sneering Shade Rider, I have been so impressed by compared to the data. This card is similar to one of my favorite cards in Bloomburrow, Glide Dive Duo. It's not just similar, it's actually exactly the same up to the creature types. This card was so good in Bloomburrow, but kind of a sleeper. It wasn't like the top common in the data or anything, but every time it came down, it was just like, how can I win now? So anyways, I do like Sneering Shade Rider in this format as well. It's a nice curve topper for an aggro deck. I would never play it in a converge deck. But anyways, yeah, I guess I don't hate the Fractal Mascot, sure. Okay, yeah, we're not getting cut exactly because you still have a Newt, you still have a Terrafractal. Would I rather have the Honor Bound page than the Newt? Probably not. Maybe Newt is just the best card. Yeah, probably Newt is just the best card. Daydream is unfortunately completely unplayable. I think they missed on this one. They were probably trying. The thing is, like, this is also a heavily synergistic card, but the synergies just don't seem good enough. Anyways, yeah, probably Newt is now just the best. I've not been very impressed with either of these cards, although Honor Bound page can get some work done. So we're on Newt. That makes sense. So now we're kind of locked in. Whoa, Cam, you were going to take the Sloth, right? That was going to be your pack 1, pick 1. Well, check this out. You could pack 1, pick 9, that same Sloth again. He climbed his way around the table and came back to us. So I'm assuming we're just snapping up the Sloth. Okay, yeah, very good. And we didn't even have to spend pack 1, pick 1 on it. Probably isn't Monstrous Rage just a good card? Like, it's probably not making our deck though. Are we now thinking that we're most likely going to be green blue? I guess we're green, but we don't know what the other color is. Could be Muse's Encouragement, could be Send in the Pest, probably Send in the Pest. Probably Send in the Pest is where I'm at here. Fractalize. This card is not playable, is it? Until end of turn, target creature becomes a green and blue fractal with base power toughness each equal to X+1, but the mana cost is X+1. So it's parity. I spend 3, make it 3/3. I spend 4, make it a 4/4. Yeah, no, this is not. And the base power. So I guess the idea of this is you do it on something that has +1/+1 counters on it, so that you're getting more value out of this. But yeah, I would not. I would not play this card under pretty much any circumstances. Like, I would rather just play a 3/3 for 3, and even then I don't want to play that. Okay, so I guess the point is it scales, but I'd rather play Wild Hypothesis in that case. Okay, so I would be on Send in the Pest here. How's the Aviator? Oh yeah, this is the one, right? I like this one in a deck where I had a lot of spell triggers. Because it lets you cast the jump, and it's actually really interesting how this card works. You get to jump once a turn every turn, and here's the thing about this: it's an on attack trigger, so it triggers before declare blockers. So I do wonder if part of the low win rate of this card is people not playing quite right with it. What you want to do with Encouraging Aviator is attack. You can attack with like this and a card on the ground that would get killed if it were blocked, but Encouraging Aviator is going to trigger on attack, and so you get to cast your jump and jump the creature before they block. I feel like I want to demo this in a game or something, but basically I can attack. It lets me attack with an extra creature that would get killed if it got blocked, because after I declare my attackers, this guy becomes prepared. I spend my jump on the attacker on the ground. It jumps above the blockers, and I can get an extra damage. I think people not realizing that may be part of why the game in hand win rate is a little bit on the lower side. I've passed Monstrous Rage and I've been sad every time. That's right, Kentaro. Yeah, the Sloth is too good to wheel. Sloth wheeling is a signal. Could not agree with you more. We're so happy to see the Sloth wheel. I will say though, no green card in this pack. I don't remember. Oh, it's showing us down here. Okay, there were no green cards in this pack. So not a signal. Fractalize reads like a bad combat trick. I thought that as well. Oh, you fractalize X equals 0 on your opponent's creature. I didn't even think about that. Wait, but X equals 1. So you do it when you're in combat or something. It's not just a kill spell. Okay. Now I'm on Embrace the Paradox. I love Embrace the Paradox. Yep, and you are as well. Okay, here, I actually think maybe now that we have the Sloth, we have double Newt and so on, we might just be in like a classic ramp situation. What if I just take Shopkeeper's Bane and just run my opponents over? Yeah, I like that you did that. Wow, we're wheeling Archaic's Agony. Okay, so Converge actually was open in the end. We wheeled an Archaic's Agony. I definitely thought we were going to have to spend a pick on that one. Emeritus of Woe. How is this card actually performing? Okay, before I cheat and look up the win rates, I'm going to think about what I would do. It's between Emeritus of Woe, which 5-4 for 4 enter. Well, that's already good. A 5-4 for 4. It enters prepared. At the beginning of your end step, if 2 or more creatures died this turn, it becomes prepared. That's pretty hard to do. And then Demonic Tutor. Tutors are typically not that great in limited because you're just spending mana in a way that doesn't affect the board is already not such a good thing to do. And then the thing is, your best card in limited is usually not a very good card, right? So you are spending 2 mana to get a card that probably is not that much better than whatever you would have drawn otherwise. So you should think about, like, in constructed, in your commander deck, the difference between Demonic Tutor and just drawing a card is unbelievable. That's the difference between winning and losing, like, so much of the time. In limited, the difference between Demonic Tutor and just drawing a card is probably like, I'm getting a nice card or maybe a very good card compared to I'm getting an average card. The gap is usually not that big. Unless you're in the special situation where you have like 1 or 2 really good bombs. If you have like an A+ card that can like turn the game around whenever it's drawn, yeah, it's going to be a big gap. But that's what you're imagining when you take a Demonic Tutor. The reality when you take a Demonic Tutor is in a lot of decks, you're just not really going to have an Emeritus of Ideation or something to go search up. So, and this is a pretty tricky thing to turn on. So my guess about Emeritus of Woe, not knowing where it falls yet, is it's like a good card. It's a 2-for-1 a lot of the time, and it's a very good 2-for-1, and it's overstated, but not like a top bomb. So let's see. Emeritus of Woe. Okay, yeah, pretty much. B. It's a good card. It's a good card, but it's not like a top bomb. So then the question is, would I rather take Emeritus of Woe, Last Gasp, Studious First Year? What are we thinking our colors are again? Maybe like green with a blue splash and then Converge. Something like that. 6 mana, 5-4, draw the best card in your deck. Yeah, but you do need to turn 2 creatures on and see all of these things I've just said about the best card in your deck. How good that often is compared to an average card in your deck. For your average limited deck, not the one you got a pre-release with 10 bombs in it. So let's see. So Emeritus of Woe, Studious. Okay, so look at it this way. Emeritus of Woe, average last pick between 1 and 2. So people take this like every time they see it, basically. The instant you see Emeritus of Woe, you're taking it. An average last pick of 1.4. Oh, it enters prepared, and then you can keep doing it. Okay, sure. Okay, sure. So this is even with you being able to do it immediately. Thanks, Cam. Even with you being able to do it immediately, and people are picking it the instant that they see it. And check it out. It wins as often as Elite Interceptor, with an average last pick of between 4 and 5. These cards have the same exact game in hand win rate, rounded to 0.1 percentage point. You need a paradigm spell or something else really worth fetching. Exactly. Elite Interceptor is just going to quietly win a lot of games, and you're not going to think about it winning you the game because it's not flashy. Emeritus of Woe, you look at it and you're like, whoa, mythic rare, Demonic Tutor. I love Demonic Tutor. So you snap it up the instant that you see it, and then bam, it wins exactly the same amount as your Elite Interceptor. We passed a Pestbrood Sloth like pack 1 pick 3 or something. Pack 1 pick 1 even, was it? And it is winning just a shade below Emeritus of Woe. So all this to say, it's not as good as most people think it is. Okay. I would be happy grabbing a removal spell. I agree. Another good thing to do. So all that said, I'm probably still taking the Emeritus of Woe because the option is like Studious first year, last gasp. I probably still take the Emeritus of Woe. I'm just saying, like, don't think it's like, oh yeah, Emeritus of Woe, I'm gonna get a trophy now. It's like, okay, good. I have a strong card for my deck. But if you're thrilled when you see Emeritus of Woe, and you're not thrilled when you see Jadzi, Steward of Fate, then you're miscalibrated. If you're thrilled when you see Emeritus of Woe, and you're not thrilled when you see Impractical Joke, you're miscalibrated, right? I'm thrilled when I see Moment of Reckoning. That's like the best card in the set. I'm thrilled when I see Emeritus of Ideation, Practiced Offense, Antiquities on the Loose. I'm very happy when I see Snarl Song. I'm happy when I see Elite Interceptor, and I'm happy when I see Emeritus of Woe. But I do see people, not necessarily in my Discord where we're all very refined drafters, but like on Reddit and stuff, I see people all the time going like, oh, I had Emeritus of Woe in my deck and I went 2-3 or something. And this is not you, Federico, the person who did this draft. This is not about this draft. This is just a very general point. And it's like, yeah, you had a good card, but you still can go 2-3 when your deck has a good card in it. 33 drafts, never seen a Moment of Reckoning. You can live it vicariously through the draft that is scheduled to post on my channel tomorrow. Yeah, that's my point. That's my point. So, okay. All right. So Emeritus of Woe. All right. Let's get the next one. So we're still thinking green and black are quite open. I have loved Dissection Practice, by the way. I was way overlooking this card. This card is so good. It's just so good. Like my opponent, this is another play from the one that's scheduled to post tomorrow. So spoiler alert, my opponent played a Studious first year, and then that was their turn one. And then my turn one, I just Dissection Practiced it. I drained them for one, and they don't get to Rampant Growth, and now they're off their mana. That was just so grotesque. I'm like, what does this card not do? Anyways, okay, looking at what we have right now, we don't have any fixing beyond the Potioner's Trove, so we should not go wild with it. But, and also, like, we don't know that we specifically want to be blue as our other color. We have, like, Ignore this Fractalize. We have Embrace the Paradox. We have Fractal Mascot. We have Emeritus of Woe, which is a pull into black, in spite of everything I was just saying. Definitely a pull into black. So what do we have? Some good cards in black here. We've got Dissection Practice. I'm a notorious a wander off doubter, let's say, not a hater, but a doubter. I've just went on this huge Emeritus of Woe rant, so I won't go on that one. There's a Noxious Newt, a Barog Barrage, which is synergistic with the Newt that we have. There's a Paradox Gardens, but yes, also there's a Stress Dream, but it would kind of be a double splash for us right now because we don't even know if we're going to end up in blue. So I'm fully with, I see multiple people in chat saying, take this Sky Coach. Yeah, I 1000% agree with you. I'm all over the Sky Coach. Nicholas could not agree more. It is super underrated. It is super underrated. So I'm hoping that's what we see. Bam, Federico, you are right on it. Everyone in chat agrees with you, and I do too. All right. Yeah, that was cool. That was cool audience participation. Why don't you put in your picks here? I have a very clear pick of what I would take in this pack. I know exactly what I would want to take here. And by the way, also, I'm moving kind of, you know, at a slow pace through this one. We only have one draft queued up after this one. So let me know if you have a draft that you would like reviewed. Drop it in the chat. Drop the link to your 17 lanes log into the chat. If it doesn't let you post a link, you can just put the digits at the end of the URL. All right, does anyone have a pick for this pack? I'll start saying I'm between some of the black and green cards. The thing is, yeah, please do, Simba. That would be awesome. I would love to see it. Please do put it in there. So the thing is, there's a Garrison Excavator and a Startled Relic Sloth. You're going to get into this situation a lot where you see cards in a color pair that you did not even consider going around in pack 2. The reason is the person to your left received very similar signals to you. And so that means, oh, perfect. Thank you. Okay, yeah. Teamwork. Okay, awesome. I'm glad that you said that because that probably means that it is not letting people post links, which makes a lot of sense. So I'm really grateful to you for putting in the digits there. And I'm just going to copy this. YouTube is making this as deliberately hard as possible. But this is good. I'm just going to copy this section of it and let's see if I can pull that up as another draft. Don't worry, whoever's draft this is. Okay, perfect. Okay, I got it. So let me just duplicate this tab and then let's put that on there. And that's our next draft in the queue. Okay, thanks so much for saying that, Teamwork, because I didn't know if people weren't sharing it because they didn't want to, or if people weren't sharing it because it was actually blocking it silently. And yeah, I don't see links that anyone's posting in the chat. So now we know you just put the digits in. Okay, that's the same one. I want the 54A2. How do I say your name? Person who just posted 54A2. How do I pronounce it? Because if I'm gonna do a draft review, I need to be able to address you by name, don't I? Okay, so we'll get back to Federico's draft in a moment. What did people think about that pack? Did anyone have a pick out of this pack right here? Let me know. Let me know what you would do. What's the pick? I know exactly what I would do. I'm ready and eager to tell you what my pick is. This is so funny. Okay, Barrage, good with the Newt. Barrage to go with the Newt. Everyone's saying Barrage. Are we on Barrage over End of the Hunt? Tiago. Okay, awesome. Tiago. Good to know. Yeah, it's... Okay, I can actually... This is so funny. I found the funniest way ever of copying this. Okay, so that's what was happening. Everyone was putting your links in. I was like, seriously? All these people are in here. I have people in my Discord all day, every day, posting these awesome game reviews. And I was like, no one wants to have their draft reviewed? That's so strange. All of a sudden? But no, okay, you were all just posting your links and it was blocking the links. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Okay. For Barrage, I'm probably on End the Hunt. It doesn't always get what you want, but the thing is, like, this one's a little conditional, but Barrage is also a little conditional because well, it's not conditional. Oh, it is conditional, right? Because you're obviously not always going to see your Death Touch creature. And also at the same time, if you don't have your Death Touch creature, you need a big creature to bite their creature, and also your creature needs to not get removed. So I view Barrage as like also in the category of awkward on End of the Hunt. The thing about Barrage is it's even more awkward. Look at stats between Hunt and Barrage. Hunt is game in hand win rate 59%. Barrage is game in hand win rate 55.7%. So it's a 3.3 percentage point gap on average. So I think that's what I would be doing. And Federico took Barrage. So I would have been on End the Hunt here. I guess there is some security in knowing that you're going to get to play a green card and you're not certain if you're going to get to play a black card. At the same time, you know, we're seeing enough and we have seen enough black that I would be pretty comfortable speculating on that. And we have some fixing. All right, I'm going to move faster through this one because we have a lot to get to now. But Pensive Professor turns out to be awesome. Have other people had this experience? The Professor is so good. I thought Professor is like the kind of dirtily value card that only I like, or that I like, but it turns out not to actually be good. No, this card's amazing. Pensive Professor. It turns out it's so good. People are picking it really highly too, so apparently everyone agrees. All right, so we're all on the same page about Pensive Professor. What have we got here? Embrace the Paradox, Wild Hypothesis, Textbook Tabulator. I mean, I'm pretty solidly in green-blue right along with you, Federico, at this point. Wild Hypothesis, maybe. So I like Wild Hypothesis a lot after my experiences with it in Sealed. But I recognize it's not a very winning card in Draft. This is a pretty empty pack. I'm probably just going to take another Embrace the Paradox. It's a little bit do nothing. Your budget for cards that are costing 5 or more, including multiple different pips, and don't affect the board is pretty low, but this is probably worth it. Yeah, Bob Smith, you're on Professor into Embrace. Me too. There's a possibility of exactly Lelouch. There's a possibility of blowout if they kill your creature. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Excavator Visionary. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's so interesting. Everyone was on Barrage. Oh, Kentaro is on Barrage or Hunt. Okay. All right. Old Growth Educator. I mean, Stress Dream is such a good card. We've been seeing them so late. I wonder if Izzet is weirdly open at this table. To be honest, now that we know that we're in green-blue, I'm very happily taking Stress Dream here. It's such an easy splash, especially if we can find one Studious First Year or one of the, why am I blanking on this? The 2/2, the environmental scientist, right? Wild hypothesis works with fractal ice. I love it. Looking for the hidden synergies. Okay, so I'm definitely on like, I'm definitely on stress stream here because it's so easy to just put one mountain in your deck, studious first year, or an environmental scientist or whatever you find, and you're good to go. And so did Federico. Very nice. Whoa, we actually just got a Strixhaven Sky Coach almost on the wheel. This is pick 7. This is pick 7. Okay, another dream I have for the set, by the way, is to just take every Mage Tower referee and every gold card I see. That would be pretty cool, right? Simba, I got it. I got it. I saw it. Thank you. Yes. I'll put that in the queue. All right, I'm gonna do a rapid round for the last few of these because I do want to get to like as many people's as I can. So that is going to be Simba's. Okay. All right. So yeah, but I'm all over the Sky Coach. So, oh yeah, we already have a Sky Coach. We actually have 3 of any pip, essentially. Potioner's Trove plus double Sky Coach. Our curve is looking a little awkward though. I really want to flag that. So here, for example, you could argue, I don't think we're in this kind of desperate situation yet, but you could argue that you should just take the Banishing Betrayal over Tam for the simple reason that like this comes down turn 2. There's also a Tenured Concoctor. So this kind of does seem like, I mean, I believe in the sweetness. I believe in trying to live your Tam dreams if you possibly can. I was playing Tamio, the one from Foundations. I lost so many games. Wait, no, it's not Tamio. What am I thinking of? The one from Foundations that this is like a riff on, where you draw a card. Tadiova. Tadiova is what I'm thinking of. I was playing that card so much, and then when they came out with this card, I was like, oh yeah, I'm totally gonna play that. This card was like not very good. It was actually quite bad in Foundations, but I lost a lot of gems trying to make that particular dream happen. So landfall, draw card, gain a life. And then they just gave me another opportunity to lose all of my gems on Tam. So probably we should just be taking Banishing Betrayal, but Federico, you also are a mage of the sweetness. Thank you, Thomas Matthew. Yeah, Tadiova, exactly. I also really want to make Sky Coach Waypoint work. It's clearly a terrible card, but like there's gotta be a way to do it, right? Can I have a studious first year and just get infinite lands or something? I don't know. What do I take here? I don't know. Probably procrastinate. I don't think there's that much else for me. Yeah, I can agree with that. Paradox Gardens versus Barrage Barrage. I actually think it's Paradox Gardens here. I know everyone is a Barrage Barrage believer in the chat, so this may be a very unpopular opinion to all of you, but I think I'm just on the Paradox Gardens. Hydro Channeler, the outside pick. You know what? I totally respect it because our curve is looking very sketchy. So just picking up a 2-drop that helps us with Embrace the Paradox, with Snarl Song. Yeah, I didn't think about that. It's better than the Paradox Gardens. And we're just going straight, is it? We need cheap stuff and interactive stuff. So Betrayal checks the boxes more. Yep. Okay. Sneering Shade Rider versus Visionary Stance. I guess Visionary Stance is fine because we got the... we are hoping now to play a... Here it is, a Stress Streams. Maybe we're even hoping to play Saner, actually. Now I'm so sad that the Barrage wheeled. Double Barrage, the Barrage of Barrages. Follow the Limerence with a second last pick Spirit Mascot. That is so funny. No respect for the mascot. This guy's strong. This guy's so strong. I can't believe it. Okay, so Lorehold, which we speculated on pack 1, pick 2, I believe. Ended up being open, which is kind of sad. It suggests some chaos at the table. Because, Federico, I think you did a good job of just following signals here, by the way. Germination Practicum. I mean, I would go for it. I would go for it. What are you actually supposed to do if I'm at like a day 2 of the Arena Open draft or top 8 of an RCQ and I'm really just trying to win? I would probably take Foolish Fate. We have so much fixing. I think you can afford to do the removal, and maybe you probably already want to splash this Emeritus of Woe. It's almost coming for free because we want to play red and we want to play black anyways because of our Snarl Song. Although we did not invest in that 6/6 Converge, we technically also have an Archaics Agony, right? So I would say I would probably be on Foolish Fate if we're drafting for stakes. I guess Proctor's Gaze is also really good. Maybe that's just better than Foolish Fate here because you can search and do your fixing. Okay, yeah, I convinced myself. I'd rather do Proctor's Gaze than Foolish Fate probably. Wouldn't hate Run Behind. Definitely Spectacle Summon is nice. I mean, if we could possibly wheel it, that would be good. But yeah, all of that to say, I can totally understand if you just go for Germination Practicum. It may even be the best choice. I don't know. And you do, and that makes sense to me. Here, do we just take another stress stream number 2? There is a Bogwater Lumerette, which technically is in our colors and is a 2-drop. But I think we're just trying to live our sweetness dreams. It's not really in our colors because black is a splash for us. So yeah, probably just take the stress stream. I guess you could take Forum of Amity, but usually I want my dual lands in a deck like this to touch my main colors. So I'm looking for a dual land that produces green or produces blue, or produces blue. I'd be happy with a green-blue dual land. I'm probably on stress stream. Yeah, I like that. I would have a pretty similar... Okay, my deck would very possibly... It would have detoured in a black-white direction that didn't pan out, I think. Here, I think it's very simple. I'm on Studious first year, bar nothing. Like, we have a curve problem, and we're trying to do some pretty ambitious splashing. Now we have potentially 3 red pips and a black pip that we want to serve. And it would be nice if we're not relying entirely on 3 drops to do that. So I'm all over the Studious first year here. Yep, and so are you. Very good. All right. Last gasp, Titan Grave. I mean, I'm just taking Titan's Grave, right? How many playables do we have? It's got to be close to 23. We do, I think, want a bigger top end. I guess we have Germination Practicum and Snarl Song. Oh, sorry. What did you pick? Titan's Grave. Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, another Sloth. Honestly, that's a top end. This guy can, like, do some damage. Easy Bear. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Tiago. Okay. Now, I would definitely take the Sloth here, and I wouldn't think too hard about it, to be honest. I will say, in Sealed, best of 3 Sealed, pick your poison. If you have not seen my RCQ tournament report video, oh my goodness. Pick your poison, such an important card in best of 3. This was like, I don't know if I would have top 8'd without this card. Seriously, pick your poison. But anyways, in best of 1, I'm not playing it. Okay, so I'm on the Sloth. Growth Curve, why did they even print this card? I love Magic. I love the designers of this game. Thank you for everything you do. But why do they put these like cards that are definite? Like everyone knew before the set that this was not going to be good. Why did they curse us with this uncommon for Simic? Simic could be like almost as good as the top archetypes with one more good uncommon. Oh my goodness, YouTube wants me to throw an ad at you. Go away, YouTube. Heck no. We're learning here. This is education. I'm not advertising to people. Okay. So Fractal Mascot, I guess, is where I'm at because we don't have that much of a top end. And we are now not exactly a ramp deck, but like Studious First Year plus Potioner's Trove both accelerate you. Yeah. So, but it's not that much of a ramp deck, but still I'm probably on Fractal Mascot, and so are you. I'm guessing we're not going to have that many differences of opinion from here. I don't know. We might be at playables now. I guess I could take Deduce to make my curve a little. No, I'm probably taking the 2-drop. Yeah, I'm just going to take the 2-drop here. And I'm actually... Oh, the other 2-drop. Sure. Yeah, that's fine. Depends on what you think your game plan is. Yeah, you're right, because we already have 2 5-mana draw spells. So I like your 2-drop choice better than mine. Yeah. We just need to... We need to get some speed into our deck. Brush Off versus Banishing Betrayal. I guess Brush Off, we do actually have a bit of a hole at 4 mana. They printed it because you always need 1 bad card in your deck, so you have a reason to mulligan. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. Where do I want the links? Yeah, so Chad, YouTube blocks links. So what you need to do is copy the end piece after draft. It says like draft / and then copy that numeric thing at the end and paste that in. You'll see people doing it. I think if you can see the chat history, you'll see people doing it above. You just go to after the / after draft, copy the numbers and put them in here. And then I'm just going to copy that and paste it over. If you put in a link, it will quietly block you. Well, it'll block that message. It won't block you. Okay, and then awesome. I'm all over Run Behind here. Look, we all know what Graphalon has done for me, but unfortunately, I do not have any gratitude to it in this situation. I'm all over this Run Behind. We have interaction, but not like we're not like at the point of saturation for interaction. We have 1 Barrage, some Death Touchers. Brush Off is kind of removal. Kind of. Not really. 4 mana to counter something. So I'm all over Run Behind. Yeah, awesome. Good, good, good. Now we get another 2-drop. That's honestly a gift. At this point in the draft, with this curve, if I see a 2-drop, I'm going, phew. Yeah, thanks, Chad. Yeah, it's no problem. Like if you put it in Discord, so I do assume, like I have a little note saying that I assume that people who put their draft in Discord are okay with it being shown on video, but I still prefer if someone like very explicitly gives me that permission. Whose was this? 7C19. It says it's not seeing it. This is Simba's draft. I don't want to miss your draft because it's not letting me see it. Pasting this in. Simba, there's an issue with the link. Could you double check the numbers? Okay. All right. So basically we wrap it up. So what happened here? Oh, another 2-drop, and we last pick growth curve. So what happened here? Deck 1, deck 2, deck 3. That's never a good sign when your draft has 5 different versions of the build, right? Usually that doesn't happen if it's going well for you. So what happened? So we started off with deck 1 with Hydro Channeler, double Biomancer, just getting a good curve. What are we leaving on the sidelines here? A Sky Coach. What else? A Shopkeeper's Bane. Leaving Brush Off, leaving Run Behind out. Leaving out our Fractal Mascot. Okay, it is really important. This is going to be a general note for everybody. It is really important, yes, to have an appropriate number of 2-drops. This is one of the first things that, you know, most people who talk about limited Magic improvement advise you to do. Is like, make sure you have the 2-drops there. Play to the board and have your 2-drops. But I think it really, really matters what your game plan is. In this deck, your game plan is not to run them over with a bunch of 2-drops. Your game plan is to play big stuff and stomp them down, right? And get off a big Snarl Song and maybe do some stress streams along the way, and maybe Emeritus of Woe. But your game plan is to play the big stuff and stomp them down. Does Mindful Biomancer contribute to that? In my view, not so much. I already have, and I know I've been talking about your curve, but maybe I was actually wrong, because look at this. I have a 1/1 that can chump, a 1/3, a 1/2 with Death Touch, and a 1/2 with Death Touch. And then I'm going to have some stuff to do on turn 3. Maybe not the highest impact things, but some things. These should be enough for you to survive and not be taking, you know, just a completely unaddressed quantity of damage through the first few turns of the game. By turn 4, turn 5, and especially turn 6, your game plan is to just play the big stuff and win. What putting this many low impact cards in a deck with that game plan does is it makes you a worse version of what the aggro decks are trying to do in the early game, and not a better enough version of what the ramp stompy deck is trying to do in the late game. So this is a very difficult balance to strike, and you should take, you know, everything in moderation. But I personally have had a lot more success saying, if I'm playing a stompy ramp deck, I'm going to play just enough 1 and 2 drops to not die immediately. And then I want my deck to guarantee that it's going to shine by the time we get to turns 5 and turn 6 and so on. My worry here is you're setting yourself up for a situation where I go like, okay, turn 1 Studious First Year, turn 2 Rampant Growth, turn 3 Potioner's Trove into a Noxious Newt, turn 4 Embrace the Paradox, and I draw Tapland, Biomancer, Hydro Channeler. And then I'm like, okay, now what? I only have really 3 cards in my deck: Germination Practicum, Fractal Mascot, and Snarl Song. Arguably also the 4 drops, Emeritus of Woe, Pestbrood Sloth, and the other Pestbrood Sloth. So that's 6 cards, arguably 3, and then arguably 3 other cards that can just take over a game in the late game. I would say if your game plan is to take over a game in the late game, you want like 9 cards that can do that. So I actually think, Federico, I haven't looked at the games and how you lost, but and I should bounce over to other people's drafts now. But here's my food for thought for you. I actually think you want to have that you drafted really, really well. I would have been with you almost all the way on the draft. You actually drafted better than I would have, because I would have done this weird detour into white black and had to go back, and I would have missed some pieces mid pack 1 that you picked up. So I think you actually drafted better than I would have in your seat. Where I think the issue may have been, though, is I would be playing Brush Off, Run Behind, Strixhaven Sky Coach, maybe the Shopkeeper's Bane, maybe Tenure Concoctor, maybe Archaic's Agony, definitely Fractal Mascot. I would be playing all of those cards over anything that's low impact and doesn't really contribute to my game plan. I don't want people to hear this as don't play 2-drops, but I would, before every one of those cards that I just mentioned, I would cut Mindful Biomancer, the other Mindful Biomancer, the Thornfist Striker. Maybe I would probably play Strixhaven Sky Coach over Potioner's Trove because, yeah, you have one Converge card. So you don't really care about the flexibility of being able to make any pip at all. You can just fetch... Sky Coach is only one possible mana color production different from Potioner's Trove. So it matters only in the case, like the difference between those two cards is only that if you have the Sky Coach instead of Potioner's Trove when you play a Snarl Song, you'll have one less counter on your Snarl Songs and gain one less life. Very, very minor edge case difference. And the other difference is like flexibly tapping for any pip. I don't have to commit in advance. I can just change my mind whenever I go to cast a spell. Sky Coach, I have to like pre-commit. But anyways, having said that, I think this is food for thought for everybody watching. Cards that don't contribute to your game plan are not useful to you. That's filler, it's chaff, it's going to make you lose more often. In a deck like this, 2/2s are only really contributing to your game plan in that they either, number one, keep you alive very well, or number two, make you able to play your bigger stuff sooner. So that's why the Newt is such a premium piece of cardboard. Mindful Biomancer, I would be a little bit lower on. Okay. Chad, thank you for sharing those in case I need to review them. Yes, awesome. Go to Sealed League. That's super cool. Have fun at Sealed League. Super cool. Okay. Tiago, one thing about your draft. Okay, let's get to, so whose draft is this? I'm going to go over to Tiago. Is this your draft? The one that's like pack one, pick one. Well, I guess I'll know your pack one, pick one, but pack one, pick one Elite Interceptor. Is that your draft? I think you were the next person in line. If the person who pack one, pick one Elite Interceptor can hear this, I'd like to know who I'm talking to. So I think Ninetales Production gave me the next one, but then had to leave. So, okay, Federico, thanks so much for sharing this draft. I'm not going to go through the gameplay logs, but tell me if that resonates with you. Okay, this is a person who, yes, this is a person who I think Ninetales Production who is drafting with Cube players. That's me, Timorg. Okay, so Timorg, you're next in line. Tiago, I think you're next up if your draft starts with 5-4-A-2. Okay. Timorg, let's talk. Okay, Timorg. Pack one, pick one, the Interceptor. Okay. All right. Yours, 5-4-A-2. Okay, Tiago. Gotcha. Okay. We'll do Ninetales later. Okay. Cool. On to Timorg. Let's go. Are you in queue, Thomas Matthew? If your draft... Okay, so this was Simba, which needs to be corrected. And Simba did send a correction, I believe. Is this yours, Thomas Matthew? The 5-7-D1, is that you? Because that's the other one that's in queue. If not, send it to me. 7C19 is Simba, which is broken. 5-7-D1. Pack one, pick one, the Old Growth Educator. Okay. So sort that out. Let me know. And we're going to go to Teamwork's draft now. Okay. Pack one, pick one, Elite Interceptor. I'm with you. Heck yeah, I'm with you. I'm pack one, pick one, Elite Interceptor basically every single time. Timorg, you're in a distinguished, rarefied class of drafters because, oh, Thomas Matthew, 4701. Let's put it in the queue. Thanks for sending. All right. Thank you for sending. Definitely. I'll take maybe like one more after this. I'll do a bit of a speed round. So if you want to get it in there, I'll take the next one as well that someone sends. I'm definitely here for another half hour to an hour. My voice is like slightly starting to give out, but I'll do every one that I've pulled up so far, and I'll do another one or two after that. Yeah, no problem, Thomas Matthew. Okay. So, Timorg, you're in a rarefied class of drafter who recognizes the power of the Elite Interceptor. Check it out. Elite Interceptor has an average last CNAT of 4.43. That means people are on average taking this card after pick 4. After pick 4, right? Game in hand win rate, 60%. 60% is bomb territory. If you were here a few minutes ago, you saw me point out Elite Interceptor has the same win rate as Emeritus of Woe. This mythic rare that looks so super fancy. It has the same win rate as Akroma's Will. That's so funny. It has the same win rate as Akroma's Will. It has the same win rate as Emeritus of Abundance. Subterranean Tremors. the card that comes with Swords to Plowshares attached. Basically the same win rate as Restoration Seminar, Echo Casting Symposium, German, higher win rate. It has a higher win rate than Lorehold the Historian, which people pick average last seen at 1.5. One of the earliest pick cards in the entire format. Professor Delian Fell is the earliest picked card in the format. People pick it 1.3, average last seen at 1.3 on average. So the moment, the vast majority of people, the moment that they see Professor Delian Fell, they take it. That's pretty appropriate. It is one of the best cards. But what about Emeritus of Abundance over here? This is the Emeritus of Woe, third most picked card in the format. This is the card, the third on the list of cards where when people see it in a pack, they take it above anything else. Number 1 is Professor Delian Fell, this mythic black-green planeswalker. This is such a useful chart, isn't it? Which is appropriate. It's a great card. Game in hand win rate 63%, one of the best cards in the set. But it is the first picked card in the set the most often. I guess that's not technically true. The average pick order is the earliest. Emeritus of Ideation is number 2 by this metric. Okay, it's also like the number 2 most winning card in the set, or number 3, so that makes sense. Number 3 is Emeritus of Woe, which is what I was just ranting about at everybody. The reason I'm ranting about Emeritus of Woe being number 3 is it has a 60% game in hand win rate. And what's that silly thing called? Elite Interceptor? Where is that? Oh, sorry, I'm filtering to Mythic. So where is that on this list? It's right below Noxious Newt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22. I'm in the 40s, 41, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm in the 50s. No, it must this not be. No. That was all fake news. I didn't filter it. No, I did. That was not even fake news. It's somewhere in the 50s. Are you kidding me? It's all the way down here. Elite Interceptor. It's this far down the page. Are you serious? People are picking like random, totally random stuff. Brotherhood's End. Actually, Brotherhood's End is awesome. Sorry, I thought that was Pyroclasm. That card's really good. No hate to that. Random like dual land. Okay, I mean, I don't hate to. Armageddon. Game in hand win rate 52%. Destroy all lands. People are taking that way above Elite Interceptor. Quillblade Laureate. That's an easy one. Up your win rate by taking Elite Interceptor earlier than you take Quillblade Laureate. This guy says double strike, but you know what the other guy says? 1 mana, and you also get to draw a card. In the 50s. Yeah, it's at least in the 50s. Eventually, I just kind of gave up on counting. It's way down here. It's way below Joined Researchers, 55% game in hand win rate. Some random first striker with some ability that you're never going to activate. Below Forum Necroscribe, 51% game in hand win rate for Forum Necroscribe. It looks fancy. The 1-drop that draws you a card is 7.5 percentage points more likely to you're 7.5 percentage points more likely to win a game after you draw the 1-drop that draws you a card compared to after you draw Forum Necroscribe. If you're taking Forum Necroscribe before you're taking Elite Interceptor, you're way miscalibrated with what tends to win in the format. But people are doing that. People pick this one on average 4th pick. People pick Elite Interceptor on average 4.47th pick. Are these stats updated daily? I think so. I'm not like affiliated with 17 Lands or anything. I'm just an enthusiastic user of theirs. Yeah, they have to be updated daily. Okay, this could be, you're right. That's a good point, actually, Billful. That's a good point. We're including the early format when people might not all have known how winning that is. Let's see how it does if you just look at like over the last 2 weeks or something, or let's say since the start of May, so the last week. Has it been picked earlier? Elite Interceptor 4. Okay, so earlier, but it should be Elite Interceptor should be picked pack 1 pick 2, you know? Pack 1 pick 3. Pack 1 pick 4 or pack 1 pick 5 is way later. Would you disrespect Emeritus of Woe like that? That's my question. Because they win at the same rate. And Emeritus of Woe this week well, we don't have enough data. No, yeah, it's been first picked. And it has the same win rate as Elite Interceptor. Okay, I'll stop ranting about this, but that's a really handy table. This can really, I did predictions about what was going to be underdrafted based on those data before the format actually came out. Now, later on, I'm going to go back, circle back and look at that. Okay, I'm going to look at what actually is underdrafted. Elite Interceptor is culprit number one for being underdrafted. Okay, anyways. Okay, so Teamorg, huge respect from all of us to you for pack one pick winning this Elite Interceptor. So let's see where the draft went from here. By the way, Group Project, really nice card. Hop to it would go in a lot of the same decks that Elite Interceptor goes in. But this is one of those situations where we were talking earlier in the stream about like, how much should you think about the signals that you're sending? And our consensus was kind of like, well, I said, I don't know if it was the consensus, but people in chat seem to agree that like, you should strongly focus on what signals you are receiving and not think that much about what signals you are sending. Okay, and Elite Interceptor, while sending a Group Project and a hop to it, is exactly the right move. So don't worry about sending those cheap cards. Okay. Pack 1, pick 2. Okay. The correct strategy for approaching pack 1, pick 2 is to completely forget what happened pack 1, pick 1. Basically. Maybe not a helpful cue, but if you don't take Interceptor here, what are you looking at? Good question. Great question. I would be taking the Group Project, I think. It's probably the second best card in the pack, I'm guessing. I guess Tester of Tangential has been doing better than I expected. I thought I would never play this card, and it turns out it's like fine. It just seems so like dirtily to me every single time. What else have we got here? Bogwater Lumerette is really like committal. Render Speechless is, at least when I looked earlier, was like the best performing black-white card, or black-white common. But yeah, I would be on Group Project. I think that's probably the next best card. Okay. Yeah, going to be interesting what the stats say a month in. Yeah, absolutely. They definitely do shift. When you look back at a format, especially when it comes back on flashback, the stats really do shift. So the meta really matters. Like how people are thinking about the game really matters. The cards don't just have inherent properties of being good or bad. They're good or bad in the context of what everyone is doing. Okay. Tablet of Discovery is nice in a very, very spellsy Is It deck. Paradox Surveyor is actually quite sweet if you end up in Simic. And Rebel Rouser, I think, was the best common in the format, at least for a period. It may still be the best common. Actually, let's see what the win rate says, 58.5%. I would not be surprised if 58.5% makes it the best common in the format right now. So, again, the correct pick for pack 1, pick 2 is to forget what happened pack 1, pick 1. If you wanted something that would go with your Elite Interceptor, I would be on Rebel Rouser. But I do think, like, I personally really like Paradox Surveyor. I love creatures that give me a land. That's just like such a good category of card. Even the Strixhaven Sky Coach that we were talking earlier about how underrated it is, that is not even a creature that gives you a land. It's a less than a creature that gives you a land, and it's still so good. So I would take the Paradox Surveyor. Rouser is a good card. Heck yeah, absolutely. But I would probably just be speculating on Surveyor. Okay. Oh, I love Essence Knit Scholar. I think this card is so good. It is a it is a 3-for-1 a lot of the time. Seriously. Isn't Interceptor better? What's Interceptor? Interceptor? Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. Elite Interceptor. Okay, yeah, maybe second best common. Let's look it up. I mean, no need to guess. Let me look up what the best common in the set is. You're right. Temporarily forgot about the card that we just spent 5 minutes talking about. Thank you for the correction, Cyrus. Game in hand win rate. Pursue the Past is the top performing common. Number 2 is Elite Interceptor, or they're like effectively tied. Number 3 is Rebel Rouser. So yeah, that tells you pretty much everything you need to know about the format. And by the way, everything I just said about Elite Interceptor, this is so interesting. It's even more true of Pursue the Past, which is picked after pick 6, and it's winning as much as Emeritus of Woe. I'm sorry if I'm getting worked up about this, but part of the reason I get worked up about this is because when I post draft videos, the most common criticism of my drafting actually is not even like a misplay, which I super welcome, and that's awesome. Helps me improve my play when people notice things I don't know. But it is, you passed this amazing bomb mythic and you took this crummy common. Why did you do that? And almost all the time, if you just look up, sometimes it's because like, okay, the common is going to fit better in my deck. You know, this minor consideration that we have when we're drafting. But a lot of the time, if you just look up the average win rate of the common that I picked, it is better than the average win rate of the mythic that I passed. Like it's just a better card on average, period. Or it's appearing in better situations. So you want to be steering your deck in that direction by taking that kind of card, right? Having said that, you know, I'm also notorious for just getting greedy and wanting to take the flashy mythic. That's like something I love doing. So if you're doing it for the fun factor, that's awesome. But just know when you're giving up equity, right? If you're taking whatever this mythic rare is, Adrix and Nev, no, that's not even the worst one. Witherbloom the Balancer. If you take a Witherbloom the Balancer, 5/5 for 8, affinity for creatures, flying death touch, and all your instants and sorcery spells you cast have affinity for creatures, I'm not saying don't take it. Go ahead, like play your affinity dragon. That's all very fun. But just know that you're giving up equity by doing it. Try to be aware that it's a commander card. I'm not even saying like, oh, you have to do homework in order to draft. I'm just saying like, you will reduce the negative experience of getting stung if you're just broadly aware that some mythics are not really the best card for you to be taking in all situations. Like, I would love nothing more than to play around with Awake in the Woods and try to make 19 1/1s. That sounds super fun. And then maybe I can play that like Roots card that like overruns and gives your whole team +2/+2 and menace. That sounds awesome. But I'm only going to succeed in crafting that fun scenario if I'm aware that the card is not actually that good and I have to like work to make it something really cool and awesome. Otherwise, you're just going to fall on your face. You're not going to know what's happened. You're going to have a bad experience drafting and you're going to be sad. And that's what I'm trying to help you avoid. Okay. All right. Rant over. So this is a cracked pack. Let me tell you. I mean, we're only pick 3, but we already have so many options. I love Dissection Practice, as we discussed earlier. Such a flexible, nice card. Thomas Matthew, thank you for sending this one. I'll make sure to swap out. That's the 47017, and I'm swapping it out with this 88F. Okay, there has to be a better way of doing all of this, but this is my first time reviewing drafts live, so bear with me on the technical stuff. Okay, tell me if this is the right one, Thomas Matthew, or tell me if it's the wrong one. Okay, anyways. Am I going for the Essence Knit Scholar, the awesome 3-for-1 card, Dissection Practice, a very flexible, very synergistic card, or the Startled Relic Sloth? Honestly, I think you probably go Relic Sloth at this point in the format. Raw card power, Essence Knit Scholar is the best card in the pack, in my opinion. A 3-for-1, a 3/1 that makes a 1/1 that draws you a card. Awesome, thank you, Thomas Matthew. That's just a good card. A 3/1 for a 1/1 that draws you a card. And by the way, you're passing so many pieces for black-green, you potentially could wheel like a Bogwater Lumared or something. So that's just a good card. Having said that, even if we don't consider that we pack 1, pick 1, delete Interceptor, I kind of want to be Lorehold unless proven otherwise at this moment. It's not like it's the clear favorite in the format. It's actually like neck and neck with Silverquill, the black-white deck. But having said that, if I can be red-white, that's the seat I'm leaning towards if I'm just trying to maximize my win rate. So, and Startled Relic Sloth, this would be a good card if it were not synergistic. If it were just a 4/4 trample lifelink for 4, that's perfectly fine. We were talking earlier about the Sloth being a good card. The green Sloth, that is, the green 4/4. This is just a better card, right? It's just better on its like pure stats and like basic abilities level. Trample, lifelink, 4/4 for 4. That's just a good card. And then also, it happens to power. It is a crucial enabler, maybe the best enabler in the set, for the best synergy going right now in this draft format. So I would be all over the Relic Sloth. Amazing. This is Teamwork's draft, right? Good job, Teamwork. Absolutely. That's what I'm doing. And you asked earlier, what would I take if not the card that I take? I would take Essence Knit Scholar. Yeah, Chiron, it would be good without lifelink. What were we just talking about? Holy cow. The most winning card, the most winning common in the format, Pursue of the Past. The second most winning common in the format, Elite Interceptor. I would, as a tiebreaker, use the fact that Elite Interceptor is one color, Pursue the Past is two colors. You do have the beginnings of a signal that Lorehold is open, because we got a Startled Relic Sloth into a Pursue the Past. But we're only in pick 3 and pick 4, respectively. What that means is people could have taken whatever over these cards. They could have taken maybe another rare, maybe a really, really, really good uncommon, maybe a mythic that was in there. Who knows? This early in the pack. Elite goes in more stuff. Exactly, Kentaru. The other thing is, I don't know. I may just be like not being data informed here. That's very possible. Clearly, Pursue the Past is way better than it looks to people. Average last CNAT, people are picking it after pick 6, and it is the single most winning common in the set. So something about this card is way better than we realize. Having said that, I still feel like cheaper and a creature is just a good tiebreaker. Cheaper and a creature, and it goes more flexibly in more decks. So I'd probably be on Elite Interceptor, but if someone really good just came in here and said, no, you take Pursue the Past because you want to be Lorehold and it's just better, I would be like, okay, that makes sense to me. So I like, Teamwork, that you went for the Elite Interceptor. Pursue the Past would have been a good pick as well. Okay, what about this one? So this is why I was saying we only had the beginnings of a signal, right? We got past Startled Relic Sloth into Pursue the Past. The other Elite Interceptor we got from pack 1, pick 1. So it was literally no information whatsoever. So we have no idea if we're supposed to be Lorehold. Here I would probably just take Render Speechless, to be honest. This was the most winning common in black-white, which surprised me by a lot. You could take Shattered Acolyte as a way of still keeping open to red-white. The thing about that is I do think it turns out to be one step below Render Speechless. And the fact that we see 2 black-white commons and a black-white land in here sounds to me like black-white might be open, right? I mean, it's only pick 5, but that sure looks like an initial signal to me. Whereas, and I think it's strong enough that it supplants whatever we saw about Lorehold earlier. So here, I'm probably going to just say, you know what? Looks like black-white is something I should speculate on and take the Render Speechless. I would not at all fault you for taking the Shattered Acolyte, kind of exactly by using the same tiebreakers we used last pick, which was cheaper and a creature and more flexible. All 3 of those apply to Shattered Acolyte compared to Render Speechless. But, you know, now I think we're starting to kind of get a signal about what's going on here. And I'm inclined to just take the strength of that and take the Rendered Speechless. Wow, teamwork. We're on exactly the same page. This is incredible. We are mind melding over here. Did I take every single pick the same as you so far? Yeah, I think so, right? Every single pick. So I would have the same exact deck as you so far. Sending the opponent into Witherbloom will help as well. Yes, but see what I was saying before about probably thinking a lot about what signals you're sending is just not the best use of your brain power for most of the draft, especially this early in the draft. How's the win rate on the Apprentice? Did I answer that one already? Win rate on the Apprentice. Which one is the Apprentice? Poisoner's Apprentice. Yeah. So I actually talked about this in the video that will go up tomorrow. It's really interesting. Poisoner's Apprentice is a card that I looked at and thought it would be one of the top uncommons in the format. Black often gets a uncommon that gives something -X or minus a lot based on the synergy that black is supposed to do. So like Wix Patrol was, I think, the second best by win rate uncommon in Bloomburrow. And it was a 5/3 for 6. When it enters mill 3 cards, when you do, target creature and opponent controls gets -X until end of turn, where X is the greatest mana value among cards in your graveyard. So you play it and you nuke something equal to the number of cards in your graveyard. People way underestimated this card, but the thing is, in Bloomburrow, multiple of black's combinations, blue-black and green-black, all wanted to be putting things in the graveyard. So by the time you hit your 6-drop, this was just a 5/3 that also killed a creature. It was a 6-mana Doomblade with 5/3 attached. And that turned out to just line up really well in the format, even though it looked so awkward, even though it was really slow. in a very fast format, by the way. So when Poisoner's Apprentice came out, I thought that it would be amazing. I was like, wow, this is like Wix Patrol, but a billion times cheaper. It just didn't line up that way. The reason I think that it didn't line up that way is because black green is just not working very well. I think if black green were the best archetype, Poisoner's Apprentice would be the best uncommon, if you know what I mean. But if you look at this, let's look at the quality of the uncommons by game in hand win rate. Snarl Song, okay, that's a Converge card. Environmental Scientist, but that goes mainly in the Converge decks, not black green. Then we have black white, then we have a Converge card, then we have a blue red. How far down do you have to go until you get to a green black card? Really far. Okay, Pestbrood Sloth is the most winning black or green uncommon, other than like the Converge only ones, which is not really measuring the quality of the archetype. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's like a dozen, you know, between that and the top. So I think that's what's pulling down Poisoner's Apprentice. Again, if this were a good archetype, I think it would be a very good card. Thoughtseize is good bomb protection, exactly. And I think this card's probably even way better in sealed. The Arcus, yes, very nice to see you. I think I'm like my voice is telling me that I don't have that many more hours of this left in me. My fading voice. So I think we're not taking any more this time. But please, next time, please submit it and let me know that you didn't get in this time, and I'll put you to the top of the queue, okay? Same to you, Luis. Let me know next time that you didn't get in this time, and I'll review your draft. But I think we have about as much as we can handle now. And also make sure to put it in the Discord. Put that draft in the Discord, and next time I do a live stream, ping me and let me know that you didn't get in this time, and I'll put you at the front of the queue. All right, Teamorg, that's funny. That's funny. We'll see what happens in a few picks. Okay, so now here's the situation that we're in. Thanks, Kentaru. Good advice. Okay, so we have 2 elite interceptors. So if I end up white, I'm pretty happy. We have a reason to be white-black. We have a reason to be white-red. And then we have this random Simic card. Yeah, Cam, you're right. Collecting them ahead of time would have been nice. But I also like the vibe of people coming in and being able to just pitch it in and, you know, and do it. Because it kind of means like if you show up, the people who show up get to have their draft reviewed, which I think is cool. So, okay. Grapple with Death is nice. I do think that people are overestimating the quality of this card. People do seem to be taking it maybe a little bit earlier than it should be taken based on its win rate. But having said that, it's kind of interesting. Black green is like the one color combination that we don't have any reason to go. So I might just take Paradox Gardens here. Yeah, good suggestions, everyone. I need the, you know, Twitch has that button that's like hydrate and the person's supposed to just like take a drink. I have tea and I have water, so I'm very prepared. Honestly, I might just take the Embrace the Paradox. I think that might be our best bet. How's Borrowed Knowledge doing? Horrible. I always think this card is going to be good, and then I read it closely and then I realize it's just tough. It's so funny that this is bad, but the other like do nothing red, white, discard a card and draw some cards is like so good. Pursue the Past or whatever. It's just about the rate that you get and the amount of cost, and most importantly, the synergies. So I don't know, maybe I just take Paradox Gardens. I can see why you submitted this, Teamwork. Really interesting situation. Probably I'm just on Paradox Gardens. Grapple with Death, I don't hate that at all. Just try to take the card that draws you the most in the pack. Embrace the Paradox may be better or like similar quality, but just taking the best card in the pack is the best idea. Don't bring out the hydrate button. Yeah, it's funny. Oh, now we get brain freeze. No way, don't tell me, Teamorg. You didn't, did you? You had a Paradox Surveyor. You had one other green card in a Grapple with Death. And then you see a Shattered Acolyte, a Spirit Mascot, a Fields of Strife, and a Brain Freeze. This is a personality test. This type of pack I refer to as a personality test. Can you do the disciplined thing of taking either Spirit Mascot, totally solid, Signpost common in the best color pair, Fields of Strife, the land in the best color pair that makes your mana work, Shattered Acolyte, a solid role player, 2-drop with lifelink, protects against your opponent's Arc of Hunger, and it goes in the best color pair? Or do you pivot and do you take the Brain Freeze? Should we reveal the pick? You took the Spirit Mascot. All right, Teamwork. Honestly, I think you're a more disciplined person than I am. I might have just said, you know what? I have Paradox Surveyor. I'm going to do it. How often do I get to cast Brain Freeze in Premier Draft? But Spirit Mascot is undeniably the best pick to actually do there. Now we get a Stone Docent, a very strong, just a very strong role player in the Lorehold deck. It is synergistic, but it's also just like a 3 mana or 3 power for 2 mana card, right? 3 mana for 2 power. I mean, sorry, 3 power for 2 mana. That's just good in aggro. I would play that in Silver Quill happily, even with 0 synergies. I also think taking Embrace of Paradox is not totally out of the realm of possibility, but we have way more reason now to be red-white than to be green-blue. So I'm all over the Stone Docent. Stronger than me for sure. That's exactly right. Yep. I would not have been able to. The amount of self-control to not take the Brain Freeze. Yes. Amazing. Okay. The land for me, Baleful, what was the land option? Yeah. Fields of Strife over Spirit Mascot. I respect it. The only thing is, because it's good to have your mana just work, the only thing is, we do want to play as many 1-drops as possible. So if I can fit these Elite Interceptors in on turn 1, then I really, really want to. And we at most, we want to play 1 tap land, because we want to have the lowest chance of interfering with our curve out possible in what could be a pretty aggressive deck, the way that things are shaping up. So that's why I would lean Spirit Mascot here, just like Teamwork did. Okay. All right. Stone Docent. Okay. And then everything just goes to chaos. I mean, not necessarily the rest of the draft is chaos, but this pack is chaos. The thing that I'll say about this, though, is it's not really a signal. When you see a pack that has a lot of very low quality cards that are not in your colors, it tells you something, but it doesn't tell you that much. Yes, if I'm in, let's say, red-white, and I see a pack with a bunch of garbage, I'm more likely to take the red-white garbage than to take the other garbage, both to send accurate signals and also just on the off chance that that stuff does end up going in my deck. But I'm not that much more likely to do it. Like, no one is that solidified in their colors pack 1, pick 8. That might tell you more like pack 2, pick 13. But pack 1, pick 8, I don't know. I'm probably still in the mode of speculating on the best card in most of these packs. So the fact that there's no red or white cards here is not that important when every card is pretty bad. There's not a single card that jumps out at me as like, oh, someone didn't take Rabbit Attack, black must be open. No, it's not like that. So I'm not panicking at this point, but I am wary. I would definitely just take the best card. I think, let's see, chances are if I have to bail on white-red, I'm going to go for Pull from the Grave or Rancorous Archaic, maybe the land. I might just take the land and postpone the decision. I think that's what I'm most likely to do. Just take the land and postpone the decision. Maybe I end up, if I do have to pivot to Simic or Golgari, I'm probably going to be scrapping for playables no matter what. So maybe what I'm most likely to do is just take the land so that my scrapping for playables gets a little bit more, coherence to it. I'm able to cast my spells. Having said that, now that that just came out of my mouth, I'm kind of thinking, well, if I'm scrapping for playables, wouldn't I rather have a playable? So maybe I would take Pull from the Grave. That's not even really that much of a playable. So I don't know. Titan's Grave, I'm with you. Teamwork, I think I literally would have made the same pick as you. Every single decision here, except maybe I would have failed the Brain Freeze test. Okay. What's the worst that could happen is what goes through my brain, and then I'm 0-3. Yeah, but did you have fun? That's the question. How many Docents max in a Lorehold deck? I got 4 on the wheel, but I'm stopping myself at 3. You got 4 on the wheel? What's happening at your table? Stone Docent? This card's really good. How many max? I mean, is it an aggressive deck? Play all of them. If you can always play a 3-power creature for 2 mana that gives you something back when it dies, yeah, I would always play that. Oh, sorry, what did we take here? Oh yeah, not Rabid. I mean, you could take Rabbit Attack, but I do not think this is a good card. The thing that you're imagining when you see Rabbit Attack So this is until end of turn, any number of target creatures you control get +1 and gain when it dies, draw a card. The thing you're imagining is I'm going to get my 4 creatures blocked by their 4 creatures. Then I'm going to play a rabbit attack. Suddenly I'm going to trade off all of my creatures with their creatures, get my stuff back, and get a 4 for 1. That's what you're imagining. That happens maybe 5% of the time. 95% of the time, you're looking at rabbit attack in your hand. Maybe you have a little minor synergy with repartee. You get your thing removed and you're like, I guess I have to spend the rabbit attack to make it do anything this game. And then you just 1 for 1'd. Your creature dies and then you cycled the rabbit attack for 2. So sometimes this card gets a lot off, but a lot of the time you should just picture a piece of cardboard that says cycling 2 on it. That's what rabbit attack looks like a lot of the time. Okay. All right. So pull from the grave comes in. Burog Banemaker. Yeah, so pull from the grave, you basically just got completely cut. I would take the pull from the grave or maybe the wild hypothesis because I'm kind of high on that card, to be honest. Higher than the game in hand win rate. You're saying there's a chance. Yes, saying there is a chance. That's why rabbit attack, that chance is why rabbit attack has a 50% game in hand win rate, not a 40% game in hand win rate. Okay, Burog Banemaker is kind of a gift here. It's like actually a playable, but you just got hard cut out of Lorehold. So someone pivoted, something happened, but it's crystal clear that we are going to have to go in a green-based direction at this point. Now, I did say when we first saw this pack, there's no way that you would know this while you were drafting, but I did say we could maybe wheel Dissection Practice, Essence Knit Scholar, or Bogwater Lumerette. We did not wheel any of those 3 cards. You wouldn't know this unless you memorized every card in every pack, which it is, quite a challenge. But it does seem we did not manage to wheel any of those cards, which means someone is going to end up in green-black. So we could get in some trouble if we end up in that lane. Here I'm taking Concoctor over Terrafractal, which you did. Here, neither of these cards is ever going to make my deck, so it doesn't matter what I do. And the last pick, Embrace the Paradox. This is a signal. This is a signal. So people, they didn't take a basic land over it, but they did take a land that literally does nothing in the set over it. So this is as good as they took a basic land over it. That's someone who is aggressively telling you, go green blue. Unfortunately, we only have 2 cards that could go in a green blue deck. So this is a train wreck situation so far through absolutely no fault of your own. There was some kind of a horrible switch that was flipped between pack 1, pick 4. We were past Startled Relic Sloth, Elite Interceptor with Pursue the Past in the pack with it, into Shattered Acolyte, and a Render Speechless, Imperious Ink Mage, and Form of Amity. That's 5 straight picks of good white cards, except we chose to take a Paradox Surveyor somewhere along there, but that's 5 straight picks of good white cards, and then bam, no white card except Borrowed Knowledge. We have some Lorehold in here, so actually pick 7, we did get some more white sneaking through, and then a Stone Docent. You know what I'm doing at this point? I'm going to say, I hear your signal. I see this Embrace the Paradox, but I saw Seth Manfield's draft Elves at a table where the 3 people to his right were all in Elves, as we were talking about earlier. And he just kept going Elves because, you know what? Sometimes being a disciplined drafter, I think means just saying, I need to make playables. Most of the time, let me put it this way. Reading signals presupposes that the people at your pod are doing something that makes sense. What we've seen so far does not make sense. And I do think, don't take this too far. Everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. But sometimes the signals that you're being given make so little sense that you should just say, everyone around me has lost credibility. These people are not doing coherent things that are going to let me craft a sensible deck. They're seesawing all over the place. Their card evaluation is so radically different from mine that I don't even know what to make of the decisions that they're making. Literally on Arena, the person next to you might have imbibed a beverage earlier in the day. This might be their first time ever booting up the client, and they paid into a draft and they're just figuring out what's going on. Like, You have no idea. They might have decided that on Mondays, I only draft cards where the first letter is in the first half of the alphabet, right? At a certain point at the table, you just have to say, these signals are leading me to a place where I am not going to end up with a deck that can compete in the open queue. If you're in pod draft, by the way, this kind of corrects itself because all of you are trying to follow each other's signals if everything's going at least acceptably. And then you're all going to be punished for whatever was happening at the table. Here, you're just going to go out into the open queue and you're going to play against random people with the cards that you were able to put together at this messy pod. So I would say at this point in the draft, I think I'm black-white. I think I'm black-white or maybe red-white. And I'm just going to belligerently stick with that. That's my honest perspective here. So I would totally take this reprieve over the slumbering trudge. Even though I was just given a strong signal that green-blue is open, I don't know what those people who were passing to me are going to be doing 10 minutes from now. They don't know what they're going to be doing 10 minutes from now, probably. So I'm on the reprieve at this point, to be quite honest. But that's kind of my belligerent, my belligerent way of doing things. Maybe people would win more on average by going the green direction that I see you went. But I would just say, you know what? You're no longer a credible signal sender. It's time for me to just go my own way. So here, I would be taking dissection practice, maybe Imperious Ink Mage, probably not. Probably just dissection practice. Could be, yeah, probably I'm just taking dissection practice. You're on artistic process. You are fully at the mercy. I guess, you know what? You're kind of still thinking lore hold, aren't you? That makes sense. Yeah, Teamwork, the other thing I'll say is like, I have the benefit of knowing that you're submitting this for review. So I know this didn't just result in like a 7-0, like, swimming success. So I at least have that benefit. So I don't know what I would do in your shoes, but yeah, looking back on this, I would definitely just be saying like, okay, I have no idea what these people are doing. Elite Interceptor. Once again, you get a third Elite Interceptor. That's awesome. Very good. Cool. There is a Paradox Surveyor in here. So Simic continues to be open, but I'm just going to take the best card in the pack. I'm done trying to read these people's signals. Wow, look at this. Well, it actually makes sense that coming from the left, black-white is pretty open because you probably cut black-white pretty hard. So Quillblade Laureate, I chronically underestimate this card. I would have said that I would take End the Hunt here. Maybe Foolish Fate. I would probably have taken one of the removal spells. But I don't hate the idea of just taking an aggressive 2-drop to go with your Interceptors. Exactly, Interceptor number 3. Yeah, I don't hate that idea at all. I would probably be on the removal, but I don't hate the idea of just taking the assertive creature. Wow, and now we get an Inkling Mascot. Yeah, Empty the Warrens. Yeah, don't speculate on Empty the Warrens here, I don't think. And I'm glad that Teamwork did not. Okay, so here, yeah, I'm all over this Inkling Mascot because I already have in my mind that I think I'm just going white-black. I think you might be thinking more white-red, but we really haven't seen that many red signals. Okay, but you did take the Inkling Mascot. Yep, so I would be on that same thing. Cost of Brilliance is a gift here. I mean, the best card is probably Vibrant Outburst, but Cost of Brilliance, do not sleep on this card. This is an incredibly powerful card, especially if you have like Quillblade Laureate, make it a 2/2 double striker. You have these Elite Interceptors. If your opponent is like killing your Elite Interceptor because you're putting a counter on it, you're ahead. So you go for that, and that's awesome. I would have drafted so similarly to you, and then it all dries up again. What is up with this table? It's not even Simic cards this time. Wow, this is just, I don't know what was going on. It doesn't really matter what we do here. Like, honestly, I might just take the Biblioplex Tomekeeper and say, I am just trying to get out of this unscathed. I don't know what you people want me to do. Yeah, Stadium Title Mage is like, there's no possibility that you're playing that card, right? So it's purely for the signal sending benefit of it. We have no path to be, is it? So I would probably just take the Biblioplex Tomekeeper. This is a tough spot to be in. I will say this is broadly a bad pack. Maybe you could take Ancestral Anger and try to go Mardu, but I really don't want to be 3 colors with my triple Elite Interceptor. Okay, maybe that's what I would do. I would take the Ancestral Anger, and I would be basically speculating on the possibility that Lorehold reopens up pack 3. That's probably what I would do. Okay, Imperious Ink Mage comes back around though. So is black-white open or not? What's going on? I mean, you pick it up and you're happy with it naturally. What's going on? Okay, I'll take Rehearsed Debater. Yeah, it's a creature. I can cast it. Dissection practice on the wheel. What is happening here? So someone took brain free. I don't know what's going on. This is just, what a weird draft. Thank you, Teamwork. This is the content that I needed. You couldn't come up with a story this weird. I'm snapping up that dissection practice. I'm thrilled. And then we get nothing. I mean, there is a Forum of Amity. We talked about that earlier, right? Forum of Amity, I would not prioritize. We talked about it with the red-white land. I would not prioritize the top lanes too highly in a deck that has a Burog Banemaker and 3 Elite Interceptors. If someone hands it to me, I'll take it. I honestly don't know if it's making my deck with 4 1-drops. I would defer aggro players. What would you do here? I'm not very experienced with this like gameplay style where you play like a trillion 1-drops. I'm trying to get better at it, but I'm just not that great at it so far. Do you play the like dual land when you have 4 1-drops? I would be inclined to take it, maybe put it in my deck. Okay, Sneering Shade Rider. I personally really like this card. We were talking about that earlier. Trove, the thing about Trove though is like, you took Trove in case you wanted to splash. Yeah, you don't want tap lanes. That makes sense to me. I just think there's like no way we're splashing, right? I guess Elite Interceptor doesn't have to be an aggro card. I remember I found it pretty nice to draw late in the game, but it's not exactly a controlling card or a mid-range card. So I guess it's just an aggro card that you're happy to draw late in the game. So I don't know. Yeah. First one is free. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, so Sneering Shade Rider, love that you found that. That's awesome. On the Alley Shopkeeper. Not that this is a good card, but you are getting a last pick black card. That gives us like some, you know, reassurance here. Oh, sorry, forgot to turn off your pick. Okay. But I would do the same thing as you with 0 seconds of thought. I'm just taking Feed the Swarm. At this point, I'm belligerently white-black. I'm almost like drafting white-black out of frustration with the people around me at this point, to be honest. I would just be like, you know what? I don't care what you people say. I'm taking the white-black cards. So yeah, Feed the Swarm. I'm all over that. Eager Glyph Mage is also good. That's kind of the only other thing in the pack for us. Post-Mortem Professor. This card is awesome. This card is awesome. 2/2 for 2. When it attacks, it already drains for 1. Yes, fully commit to the bit. When you're aggro, absolutely. That's a mistake I've made many times as well. Being halfway aggro is not going to win a lot of games. Okay, Post-Mortem Professor. Post-Mortem Professor. I'm all over that card. Do we have instants or sorceries that we can exile? Not really. Feed the Swarm, Dissection Practice, Render Speechless, Cost of Brilliance. Maybe we're playing Pull from the Grave. Okay, yeah. Hey, maybe we do. Maybe we do. All right, but I'm all over the Postmortem Professor. If that weren't in the pack, I would be taking the Eager Glyph Mage, maybe Melancholic Poet, maybe Imperious Ink Mage. But I think the Glyph Mage is not just the best card, but also having like 1 or 2 4-drops. The evasion matters as well. Having a 1/1 flyer, that has won me really close games in the past. Whoops, I need to turn off the pick so that I don't get spoiled here. Wow. We're getting past pack 3, pick 3, Emeritus of Conflict, after our esteemed colleagues to the right of us cut red so hard pack 1. I don't even know what to say about that. This card is, I would assume, a card that you would play in any red deck, right? Okay. I really want to make Glimpse of Nature work. I really want to make it work, but I recognize it's not a good card. So they're passing us Kirill, Emeritus of Conflict, and Fields of Strife. I guess we're taking Adventurous Eater. Do we even have repartee triggers? Yeah, Inkling Mascot. I wouldn't hate triggering my Inkling Mascot. Actually, Adventurous Eater is pretty sweet with Quillblade Laureate. Owlin Historian makes sense to me as well, for sure. For sure. So I would definitely take that one. Ral Zarek. This is a card that I experimented with. It's so funny that they didn't give it like a good thing to do. It's like, you know, Surveil is fine on entry. It can draw you a card. Any number of players discard a card is whatever. I guess it's a Reanimator enabler. Return a creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield is probably the best mode. But if you're doing that, you're literally just trading even on mana. Is Kirill better than the Emeritus? Oh, I would not advocate switching back, no. I've barely played with Kirill. It seemed slow to me, but I guess a 2/3 for 2 is good. If your mana are good enough to like play this on curve, I'm assuming it's perfectly fine, but it seems pretty slow. So yeah, I wish they had just given this like a normal mode that's just like draw card. I would take Render Speechless here, almost certainly, I think. This card is like number 2 Render Speechless. The main thing though is like what makes this card good is having the repartee triggers. It's a duress that gives us repartee triggers that makes one of our creatures bigger. You could stick it on a flyer, but you don't have that many flyers. Now, maybe you take Ral Zarek, but I would probably take Render Speechless. I don't think they're that far apart, though. Summon Dromedary, I guess, is the only card for us in this pack. Kind of unfortunate. Not much going on there. How good is Dig Site Inventory? Very mediocre, I guess. It's like perfectly fine. We don't have the repartee triggers to really take advantage of that. Okay, Honor Bound page, Diary of Dreams. There's really not much here. Honor Bound page. Okay, we're most of the way through pack 3, and then we suddenly get a Owlin Historian. So we actually Timorg. Yeah, no, I mean Ral is like perfectly fine. It's just that they didn't put on. I wish it had like draw card or something. Like Surveil is so disappointing. Bring a creature with mana value 3 or less back after I just played my 3-drop Planeswalker. I guess you could think of it as if I have a 3-drop in the graveyard, then it's a 3-mana creature that comes with a Planeswalker attached. That sounds pretty good to me. But the issue is it doesn't always, you're not always going to have a 3-drop in the bin, especially on turn 3 when you usually would want to slam down your Mythic Planeswalker and start getting ahead in the game. So anyways, oh yeah, by the way, also check out the difference between the Alsa of this guy, Ral Zarek, the pick order of this card. I need to unfilter for uncommons between the average pick order and how often it wins. Look, it's picked right after pick 1 most of the time. Win rate below 55%, below the average win rate. It's picked right after pick 1, before pick 2, win rate below average, which means it should probably be picked around pick 6 or pick 7. So yeah, it is overestimated. Having said that, Teamwork, I don't think you overestimated it here. Like, what else are you going to do? I guess Render Speechless, but I might just rather have the Planeswalker given your deck, which does not have those repartee triggers that make Render Speechless good. And also, you already have a Render Speechless. Duress is a card that, you know, I think gets worse in multiples, especially when it's a Duress that costs 4. Okay, so here we get an Owlin Historian, and then bam, I saw this pack already, and it's ridiculous. So they give you a Killian's Confidence and an Adventurous Eater. And by the way, now red is recut after the pack that had 3 good red cards. All right. And then we get a bunch of nonsense. I mean, it's the end of pack 3. Sure, we take the Raised Dead card. Wow, what the heck? So here I would definitely be on Eager Glyphmage in your deck over the Eternal Student. I think Eager Glyphmage is just better. This is like a 3/3 that makes a 1/1 is just good for 4 mana. The fact that the 1/1 comes with flying is awesome. And especially because you have Render Speechless and Cost of Brilliance and Killian's Confidence, you can make it bigger. Like each of these, Render Speechless and Cost of Brilliance, can turn it into a 2/2 or a 3/3 permanently. Killian's Confidence can turn it into a 2/2 every turn in the air. So just having that extra little 1/1 flyer, I think, is really good. Technically, this also makes 1/1 flyers, but in a way more roundabout way, right? It like takes extra turns and whatever. Having said that, would I just rather take the Imperious Ink Mage? No, probably not. We have a lot of 3-drops, and I'm probably looking not to play Summoned Dromedary, Honor-Bound Page, Cheerful Osteomancer. Like, I don't like any of my 4-drops right now. I'm not sure how close you are to playables here, but yeah, I would take the Eager Glyphmage, I think. Okay, gotcha, Teamwork. I won't harp on it then. And then Embrace the Paradox, sure, whatever, and then everyone's back to just giving you Simic again. So I don't know what everyone at your, was everyone at your table drafting Converge, except the one Lorehold player who then like randomly passed a pack full of Lorehold stuff. This was like painful, really random. So what happened here? You're partway through this draft. You haven't played out the games yet, I guess. Let us know how it goes. Tell us in the Discord. Looks like you lost one, won one, and then we haven't played the rest of it out. Or you played them on your phone or something. When can we know ahead of time when you decide to do another live stream review? Baleful, I post posts about it. Like, I use the post feature on YouTube to talk about it. I've mentioned it a few times in the videos that I record, and I posted shortly beforehand in the Discord. Any of those times, you can just bring a draft and drop it in the chat. I kind of like the idea that, you know, I'll review the drafts of the people who are here. It's cool talking to Teamorg like in real time about this. It's more fun than just like, or it makes better use of the live system than just like recording it. Otherwise I could just record it, post it to YouTube, and you could tell me in the comments, right, what you think about my review. So I think this is, I think what I'll do next time is, yeah, just ask you to come and like put it in first, and we'll do like first come, first serve. Okay, Informed Inkwright. Whose is this? Pack one, pick one in the Informed Inkwright. Ping me if you're either 54A2, Pack one, pick one, Informed Inkwright. This was Simba's that was not actually the correct draft. So Simba, if you have your corrected draft, let me know. 57D1, Pack one, pick one, Old Growth Educator. If that's you, ping me in the chat. 8F8, Pack one, pick one, Erode. Ping me in the chat if that's you. I'm going to jump into one of them. Probably the first one that was in the queue. This may be Tiago's. I think this is Tiago's draft. Okay, yeah, I thought so. Hey, Tiago. Informed Inkwright. I'm 100% with you. Actually, I'm going to let my cat into the room. And then, Tiago, we're going to review your draft. Go on in. No, he didn't want to go. Okay. All right. So Informed Inkwright, he was screaming and screaming and screaming, and then he didn't want to go. Oh, 8F8 was you. 8F8 was Thomas Matthew. Gotcha. You're after Tiago. Okay. And then Simba, if you're still here, let me know. And whoever did this Pack one, pick one, Old Growth Educator, let me know. Okay. All right. Tiago, you're the Inkwright. One thing about your draft, you started to get worried because you ended up with a lot of cards that I mentioned were bad, but you didn't see another path. You know what? I play cards that I think are bad all the time. It's just about reading your lane, right? That happens all the time. Don't worry about that. The aggro deck did the job, but you felt a bit lost during the draft. Gotcha. Yeah, no. I mean, look, all the time you have to play cards that are bad. It's just about being aware when a card is not as good as you think it is, either because that means it needs synergy to support it, or because it means you need to put extra effort into making the rest of your deck good. You know that you're making compromises in individual card quality, so you have to work to make the rest of the deck like a little bit better, not make those compromises again in the future, not pick the brainstorm when it's passed to you, and just take the responsible signpost comment. Okay, Cat's now begging again to get in, and then we'll jump into the draft review. Come on in, come on, in you go. All right, heck yeah. He's here to review everyone's drafts. Okay, all right, Informed Inkwright. Absolute bomb of a card. Love this card. It is such a house. One of the top cards that there is. I'm all over this Informed Inkwright, just like you. If Inkwright weren't in the pack and it were just some garbage rare, Flow State seems really, really strong. Very similar to a super strong card in Avatar draft, but you do need to enable it. It specifically goes in a very spells heavy deck. Strixhaven Sky Coach, chronically underdrafted, amazing uncommon. Even if you're not in the Converge deck, this just helps you hit your lands. I thought that this card would be bad because historically Crew 2 has been just not good. You need to be Crew 1 if you're going to be a playable vehicle in Limited historically. But they seem to have put a lot of effort, the designers, into turning the knobs on vehicles to the point that they've actually made Crew 2 playable a lot more than it used to be. So this is one example of that, and we should remember that in future card evaluation. What else have we got? Lorehold Charm, it's the charm of the best archetype, so don't hate that one either. Shattered Acolyte is a perfectly fine 2-drop in probably the best color. And then we have the best common in the format, Pursue the Past. Weirdly, nobody saw it coming, I don't think, but it totally is. And then Rubble Rouser, we just looked it up and it's the third most winning. Chad, you are the Old Growth Educator about to start your matches. No worries. I'll do the review and just watch it later on. How many boxes did I win in the latest event? I only had time to do one run because Friday I played Friday Night Magic. Saturday I played in a regional championship qualifier. And then Sunday I had plans that had nothing to do with Magic for the weekend. So I came home Sunday night exhausted. I did one run, one and done, and I posted a video. That was the only run that I did. And I won a collector booster box with that run, but it was the weirdest run of my life. Seriously, if you watch that, it's unreal. Every person got mana screwed. Well, except like 2 people. It was like 7 wins. 5 of them were because my opponents got mana screwed. One person drew the only thing they did in the whole game was they played 5 lands. They played 5 basic lands, forests and plains, which is not even a supported archetype in the format. And so I thought, looking back, oh, they drew the only 3 plains in their Simic deck. They got mana screwed in their Converge deck. But then I realized they turn 1 Terramorphic Expansed for a plains. So they weren't mana screwed at all. What were they looking for? They chose to get a plains. Then they drew only forests and plains, literally did not play a spell in the whole game, and then conceded. So yeah, that was a weird one. I can't take any credit for that collector booster box. It honestly felt like there was a conspiracy to give me a collector booster box. Exactly, Chad. It was one of the weirdest experiences, not just of Arena Directs, but that I've ever had playing Magic. It was so strange. Okay, anyways. All right, Tiago, back to you. Informed Inkrite, I'm all over this. Okay. Oh yeah, thank you, JuiceBot. Yeah, that regional championship qualifier was super, super fun. And yeah, definitely draft is the best way to play Magic. Sealed is actually growing on me a little bit. I thought that it kind of sucked. Exactly, Naveen. Yes, that's right. I happily take the collector booster box when it's because 5 opponents in a row conceded. You know, I've given people plenty of wins, not usually intentionally, but due to my extreme greediness. So thank you, Nicholas. I appreciate that. Okay. All right. So we just pack one, pick one, did Informed Inkrite. Amazing card. I'm looking to play it. This is the kind of a pack one, pick one where I say, like, you should just forget about your pack one, pick one. And it's the least important pick. It's the one where you have the least information. This is one of those ones I don't really want to forget about. Honestly, this is one of those ones where I pick it and I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to play this if I can. Good job, Luis, getting that collector booster box. Enjoy the cards. So I'm, you know, maybe actually like using white as a tiebreaker now. That's one of these things where we always say, you know what? Don't just go by your pack one, pick one. And then there's an exception to every rule. And the exception there is if your pack one, pick one is really, really, really strong, one of the top cards in the format, which I believe Informed Inkrite probably is. I haven't looked it up recently. 63% game in hand win rate. It's right at the top in terms of game in hand win rate. Then it actually could be a tiebreaker because it's just that good that it can kind of make that difference. I'm not saying definitely play white. Don't force white after pack one, pick one-ing Informed Inkrite, but it could be a tiebreaker. Okay. How good is this card? Stirring Stone Glider, a 4/3 for 3. I don't know if I've... Oh, I remember this card. I've seen people play it. Yeah, it seems like it does kind of get stuck in your hand, doesn't it? So basically, we totally whiffed on our uncommons. Yes, Tablet of Discovery is strong, but it's mostly for the Is It Spells deck, right? You would play this in the Is It Spells deck and maybe in a Converge deck. If you're playing it in just a Lorehold, I don't know. I'm not like a Lorehold deck construction expert necessarily. It does seem like it's pretty constraining to not be able to play your Boros creatures with the Tablet of Discovery, as well as you can play your lands. Having said that, it's still a mana rock that draws you a card effectively. So, but not, you know, not really. Your mileage may vary with that one. Anyways, it's a totally solid card. I probably would take it here, to be quite honest, because if I can play Lorehold, I'm really happy to. I don't know that I want to go for Render Speechless. I guess also, you know, Informed Inkrite could go very nicely in like a Jeskai Spells thing, because it's really wanting you to play instants and sorceries. The Tablet of Discovery is wanting you to play instants and sorceries. Kind of lines up. But I'm probably overthinking this. You want to just take the best card, and yeah, I guess I would take the Tablet. Stone Glider, I don't hate that pick either. Very creature-based archetype, right? If we do end up in Boros. And the other thing is, this kind of takes another white card, so I guess you could think of it as being more flexible if you want to play your Inkrite in the end. Like, you could end up in white-black and play both of those cards. You can end up in white-red. I would be inclined to just take the best card in a vacuum, even with how good your Inkrite is, because there are multiple different ways that we could play like Tablet of Discovery with Inkrite, or Rendered Speechless, which I also think is better than the Stone Glider. That could go in a different deck with the Inkrite, but anyways, that's all fine. Okay, now what do we think about this pack? I mean, I'm probably just taking Quillblade Laureate, right? I think it's the best card. Well, maybe Saner is the best card. Do I just take Saner? What if we do, yeah, so you're just going for the render speechless? Well, okay. Yeah. I definitely don't have an issue with that over the storing Stone Glider. Here, so this is actually really interesting. I'm actually really curious what people would do here. My reading of this situation, and we can haggle over the particular card evaluations, but my reading of the situation is that Saner is the best card over Quillblade Laureate as the second best card in the pack. That's the double striker that gives something double strike. If we take Saner, you would think we can't play that in the same colors as our bomb, or in the same deck as our bomb, because it's such different colors, right? Blue-red card, our bomb is a white card. However, Saner does go in a instants and sorceries deck, right? So if we wanted to go into Jeskai Spells direction, these three cards all could go in the same deck together. I think partly for that reason, I would just go ahead and take the best card, because I can still kind of imagine how I get to play my bomb in that deck. And, you know, Saner actually even helps you splash. Like, Saner helps you be in a blue-red deck that can afford white pips. So I might just take the Saner here. You were Tiago and run 3 of 4 Is It decks. That's so funny. Yeah, having said that, I don't know. I do think just taking Quillblade Laureate has a certain clean, cold logic to it of just, you know what? This is a white 2-drop that deals damage in a deck where, in a set where that's a really good thing to have in your deck. So taking Saner gives yourself a strong possibility that you just end up going into Is It and you're not playing your Informed Ink, right? I actually have not made the Jeskai Spells thing work yet this format. I've seen it go not so great for people, so I've been a little bit wary of it. I would probably try it here because of where I'm at in the format. I would not be at all surprised if just taking Quillblade Laureate is the best thing to do. Okay, now we're getting some information about black-white, right? So we do see green-blue, but frankly, green-blue uncommons are everywhere in this format. I see so many green-blue uncommons and commons like way late in the pack. Green-blue is definitely underdrafted. If you look at my last video, the data video that I posted about how the format is evolving, I definitely think that green-blue is underdrafted right now, but also red-white seems to be underdrafted. Black-white probably about appropriately drafted. Having said that, it does seem to be a theme in these drafts that we're reviewing today that people are getting into black-white because it's open. All of you disciplined Signals followers are following Signals and they just lead you to black-white over and over again. I'm probably just on Render Speechless here. I think that's got to be the pick. Yeah, I don't really see any other thing that I want to be doing. Yeah, and you thought the same exact thing. So that's cool, Tiago. Okay, here I'm going to take Dissection Practice, even though I don't have like gaining life synergies. It's just got to be the best card. I am, however, definitely taking note of this Spirit Mascot and Ascendant Dustspeaker. 2 perfectly nice serviceable parts for a Lorehold deck, right? A Lorehold Enabler and a Lorehold Payoff. So I'm definitely taking note of that. But having said that, the best card in the pack is Dissection Practice, so I would take it. Okay, you go for the Ascendant Dustspeaker. Interesting. Yeah, I think Dissection Practice is better than it looks. I'm not sure if you've played yet with this card a lot. Dissection Practice is better than it looks. So I would recommend taking the Dissection Practice here. It's just a better card enough that I think it motivates taking it. Okay, Dig Site Inventory and Fields of Strife are the only cards adjacent to what we're doing. So let's take stock of our signals in a way that we don't have the luxury to do in a draft. So pack 1, pick 2, pack 1, pick 3. These are not really signals situations. Then we did get a few black-white and a few green-blue. Then we see this pack where we got a red-white, a bunch of green-blue, black card, white card. Taking notes, yes. Yeah, starting with white does feel really good because it puts you into the 2 best archetypes. That's this like next level thinking that I'm super glad that you raised, Naveen. It's like, if I start with green, I'm going to go into, let's forget about Converge for a second, but I could go into Simic or I could go into Golgari. 2 archetypes that are performing lower down or even more. If I start with blue, I guess, I could go into Is It or I could go into Simic. If I start with white, the 2 archetypes that it touches are the 2 best archetypes in the format. So if I can pick any one color to start with, on average, the best color would be white. Because if I do end up playing white, I'm going to be in one of the two best archetypes. If I start with a green card, I'm going to end up with in either the third or fourth-ish best archetype, unless I end up in Converge, which you could argue that's actually the third best archetype, or maybe near the second best archetype. But starting in white actually gives you more insurance, so that if you follow signals, you're more likely to end up in a better archetype. Okay. Here, I guess I'm just taking Fields of Strife for exactly this reason. You could end up in Lorehold. Dig Site Inventory, I don't hate either. I guess it's a more flexible card than Fields of Strife in the sense that you could play it in your black-white deck, or if you pivot to Lorehold, you could play it in your red-white deck. So that's fair enough. However, do we have signals right now? It's an open question. Spell Pierce, not a good card. Orisa, not a good card. Deluge Virtuoso, not a good card. Procrastinate, not a good card. Glorious Decay, not even playable. Hungry Graphalon, I love me a Graphalon, not a good card. So the best card in the pack is Archaic's Agony. So actually, if we're trying to learn, I do have the same impulse that I would probably take Fields of Strife, maybe Dig Site Inventory, I can understand. If we're trying to learn though, maybe we just take the Archaic's Agony here. This begins to be a signal, right? This begins to be a signal. The fact that there's an Archaic's Agony, which I think is by far the best card in the pack, is probably worth taking note of. So we could take the Dig Site Inventory and just kind of lean more in the direction of what we're doing. But if things start to go sideways, like it sounds they might, then I think that could be a point to come back to. Okay, Thunderdrum Soloist is a 2-drop that has been performing not very well. I have really wondered how good it's going to be in Boros. Yes, Naveen, exactly. Pivoting between Silverquill and Lorehold does not even require a change in game plan, the way that you might be throwing away your life gain synergy cards if you pivot in green from Golgari into Simic. And now those synergy cards you're investing in don't make sense anymore. Taking a Elite Interceptor always makes sense in any white deck I ever play. Okay, so I'm between... Honestly, I might have wanted to take the Archaic's Agony and then just speculate on Converge and see if maybe Quick Study is open and I can go some kind of teamer direction, because I'm starting to feel a little bit unsettled. This pack already unsettles me. There's a dissection practice, but even already the white is looking pretty cut. And then here, white and black especially looking cut, and here white and black especially. So I think I am looking for an off-ramp at this point, or I'm just trying to figure out what the best card is. So maybe I'm on Quick Study. Maybe I'm on Thunderdrum Soloist in case I want to pivot back to Lorehold because we just saw a Spirit Mascot. Yeah, Kentari, I totally agree. Really aggro or just aggro? And then we see Emeritus of Conflict. Oh man, everyone's down on this card. Okay, I want to give you a theory about this card. Okay, Alsa is 2. It's picked right after pick 2, so people do not need to be talked up on this card. I just think it's so easy to prepare. I think the game in hand win rate here is dragged down by people playing it out too soon. If you play it on turn 2, how good is it? It's probably a 2/2 first strike for 2, which is fine. And it shows up as 5. Fine, 55% win rate. But if you play it in an tempo deck, the tempo style of Prismari, you, I think, can very easily contrive situations where it's like turn 5 and I go, play this guy, play something, play a thing that makes a treasure, it's prepared, and then I zap off a lightning bolt. That's how you've got to play it. So I think I'm not going to pick it at pick 2 like most people are doing. It looks like most people don't need to be talked up on this card. But I do not think that this is one where the raw game in hand win rate captures how good the card is, in my opinion. I had a really great experience with it at Friday Night Magic, where my whole deck was just constructed in a way that it was so easy to play the Emeritus, prepare it, zap off a lightning bolt, get an incidental spell trigger, clear their 1 blocker, crash in for 5. I just think you need to build around it and play it correctly. And there you go. I actually think it is a signal, and I think you should go for it. So that's awesome, Tiago. Awesome that you picked it up. I'm actually thinking this is a teaser. I'm going to be doing, thank you, Cam, really appreciate that. This is a teaser for a video, actually. I'm going to do a video on where the data are wrong, right? So like, I always talk about the game in hand win rate of cards. And I always say we need to take it with a grain of salt, and I always give a million caveats. But then broadly, I still think it's a very useful thing to look at when doing card evaluation. having said that, there are many situations where it specifically, concretely, dramatically overstates or understates the performance or quality of cards, in my opinion. And I think Emeritus of Conflict is one of these examples. Okay, so enough said, but that video will be coming out where the data are wrong, maybe in like a week or two. Okay, all right. Requisition rate is, unfortunately, I really wanted this card to be good. It just, anytime there are 3 different modes, I feel like it's going to be good, even though it's not useful for best of 1. It just really makes me, it ticks something in my brain. Anyways, what about Spectacle Summit? We have such a cool setup for a Prismari, or sorry, not Prismari, Jeskai Spells deck. I feel like we could take that. I feel like we could take a Spectacle Summit and not feel too bad about it. That said, I am feeling pretty unsettled by the fact that we've just gotten completely cut out of white and black. So I don't know if we should even be thinking about white that much anymore. I might be thinking of this situation. Well, the thing is, though, we're probably going to get a good amount of white pack 2, right? So I would probably take the Spectacle Summit, but I'm looking for an off ramp. Oh, you did take the Requisition Raid. Yeah. As I said, I you and I are thinking very similarly about this. When I first saw this card, I guess it's a reprint from OTJ probably, but when I saw this card in this set in the Mystical Archives, I thought, yeah, like, hey, I can put a counter or I can destroy my opponent's thing if they have it. If they don't have it, I get to just put a counter on everything. It turns out it's just like kind of a win more situation, I guess, putting a counter on each of your creatures. It's really good if you're already winning. It's not good if you're not winning. Okay, Rearing Embermare. This is one of my cards where I think the data is wrong. I love a 4/5 for 5 in red that just has a little bit extra. I've talked about this before. I'll talk about it a lot in the future. But the Altasaur, Panicked Altasaur from Lost Caverns of Ixalan, there was a moment in that format where everyone realized how good this card actually was for a lot of reasons to do with how that format was lining up. But like the 4/5 for 5, and that's not the only time. There are other times when this card has just jumped way up in people's estimation late in the format. I would not be surprised if that happens with the Embermare. I keep ending games with it. Tiago, you cut it. That's totally fine. It may very well not make your final deck. The thing about that, though, is like, I'm not saying it's the best card in the format. I'm just saying, don't sleep on this card. Because it has a low win rate, I think it's easy to just say I should never play it. But in fact, that's the kind of a card that can just end games entirely on its own. Okay, and then we take some stuff, Root Manipulation, Cuboid Colony. I'm so sad about how Cuboid Colony is not doing well. I really feel like it's time for an Izzet resurgence. But yeah, I agree with you here. This does kind of feel like something went wrong, doesn't it, though? The fact that we were all in on these, like, we weren't all in on black-white, but we definitely hung our hat on white early on. Then red opens up, then red dries up. Then we're seeing Simic and Golgari. Just kind of looks like, actually, this feels like a situation where a lot of bad cards were opened. Usually you would see some random, some random power outlier eventually. I guess maybe Thornfist Striker is the one here. Actually, that's probably what it is. Maybe this was our moment to say, forget about white. I take the Thornfist Striker, then what would happen? I would take a Barrage Barrage and be pretty happy. I would take a Cuboid Colony, or maybe a Barrage Barrage. Then nothing. Then a Cuboid Colony. Then a Royal Treatment. Then suddenly, look at that. Bam. That's like 5 green cards. Then we would have as many green cards as we have white. Okay, we don't have an Informed Inkright, but I think we needed to find a moment to bail on white. I think maybe we would have ended up with a better situation if we had gone Archaic's Agony like I was thinking. I was thinking Quick Study here. I was thinking Emeritus of Conflict, but maybe Thornfist Striker is actually better. I don't know. You do need to find ways of gaining life, which we don't have, but who knows how our deck is going to end up. We're just speculating. Barrage Barrage. Love that. Cuboid Colony, probably. No, maybe I'm just concocting a mess here. I don't know. Maybe I'm cooking something terrible. I just think white is not really an option. We can't really be thinking about white anymore, in my opinion. We technically will probably get a good amount of white pack 2. But then it really seems like it's so cut from the right. So I would have looked for an off-ramp, and I would be somewhere in green at this point. I love Ad Nauseam. I remember this from Planar Chaos. Love that card. What would I do if I were in the green soupy situation here, though? I love Stirring Honormancer. We were talking about this earlier in the stream, but this guy is at minimum a 4/5 draw card for 5. I don't know. I guess we just take that. But black was definitely cut. So I think by this point, I think I'm not going to do the whole rest of the draft in great detail, because I think the place to really focus, if you want to understand how this could have gone better, is right around here. After these black-white cards, we were cut completely out of that color combination, other than the stray dissection practice, which is more of a black-green card anyways. After that, we saw no piece, period, for black-white, and we saw essentially no white cards. So at that point, I would be saying, you know what? I just don't think I get to be white this draft. So I would be going for... I would be specifically jumping around this Archaic Agony. Okay, let's look at the rest of the draft, but that's my feedback to you, Tiago. I would look really closely at the middle part of pack 1. Where could you have found that initial signal that something was going wrong? And I think it's right around the Archaic Agony. Okay, you take the Stirring Honormancer, which still shows, by the way, that you're thinking you might go black-white, but we have the benefit of hindsight. I got to tab through the packs a bunch, so I'm not like saying you should have known this in the moment. But I do think that that ship has sailed. Like, black-white is just not an option for us after the end of that pack 1. Now we get a Burst Lightning. Is Burst Lightning better than Practice Scrollsmith? I kind of think the Scrollsmith is unbelievable. The thing that I didn't realize about Scrollsmith is you get to play this card until your next turn. I had to play with it to realize that. I looked at this card, and the first time my brain just processed it as the classic style of card where, like, you play it and you can play the card until the end of turn. So I was like, okay, so if I have 6 mana, I can do that for a 3 mana spell, flash it back. But actually, if I have 6 mana, maybe I can replay a 7 mana spell. Well, I don't know how that's in my graveyard. I guess Visionary Stance. I can replay the 7 mana spell, and I can do that next turn, right? I get to play another land and then play the spell. So I think this card's amazing, and that all of that on a 3/2 body with pretty flexible mana. So I don't know, between Burst Lightning and Practice Scrollsmith, I would usually probably take the Scrollsmith. Oh, it can die and you can still play it. Very cool. I'm not a judge, but that sounds right to me. Okay. Oh yeah, Steal the Show. Isn't this card actually really good? Choose one or both. Target player discards any number of cards, then draws that many cards. It deals damage equal to the number of, instants and sorceries. It's really good in the Is It deck specifically. Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. Walmart version of Snapcaster Mage. That's right. Hey, any version of Snapcaster Mage is a good Magic card. So I don't know. I guess Eager Glyph Mage. Yeah, but I'm definitely Return to the Ranks. Spoiler alert. I built around this card. Video coming out tomorrow. By this point, I would be taking probably like Stress Dream in like a Teamery deck. I would be getting Prismari Charm. So weird that now you're getting Wilt in the Heat, a good Boros common, Last Gasp and Feed the Swarm, top black removal, and a Studious First Year, good green fixing. I guess the Studious First Year makes sense with what we saw pack 1, but the rest of that makes no sense. Here comes Aziza. All right. And then Micah on the... Is this on the wheel? No, we're 1 pick before the wheel. Our Ad Nauseam comes back to us, but we get a 2-drop. And then you end up with the Steal the Show anyways, Tri-Scholar, etc. Okay, Postmortem Professor is a rare. Molten Note. Okay, and now you're just kind of locked in on red-white. But like, look at this. We get a Slumbering Trudge. So you would have got rewarded for pivoting green at some point. And then I love Decorum Dissertation, but not a very good card. Spirit Mascot, yeah. But there's a knockout maneuver in the pack. Yeah. I think, okay, now we're getting some kind of Converge card, and we're getting pretty completely cut out of Boros. Yep, okay. Yeah. All right. Thanks very much for the submission, Tiago. I feel like mid that pack 1 is the place to look. But hey, also, looking at your final deck and your score, your draft actually went really well, right? You went 6-3. So we're really haggling over, like, instead of this really fast Boros aggro deck, could you have gotten a trophy with some, some other direction? But this one got you a 6-3 result. So, I mean, who am I to say you did the wrong thing? Maybe my green deck would have gone 2-3. So, okay. All right. Okay. So who's left? Who's waiting for a draft? Old Growth Educator. We had Chad. Were you the Old Growth Educator? Chad was the Old Growth Educator, is about to start his matches. So we'll put that one last because I think he had to leave. Okay. And then we have Pack one, pick one is an erode. Who's pack one, pick one, erode? I think those are the only two left, actually. Oh no, then we also have, right. We have Ninetales. Okay, Thomas Matthew. I wanted to do yours next. I think you were next in line. Perfect. You're the erode, Thomas Matthew. I'm gonna start doing it. If it's not yours, tell me. I'll make sure to do yours after. Okay, pack one, pick one, erode. The other two I'll do faster because both those people had to peace out anyways. So this is gonna be our last effortful draft review. I mean, I'll put effort into the other ones, but I'll go fast through them. I'll take another like 15 minutes with this one, another few minutes each for those, and then I'm gonna have to wrap it up. Okay. So tough draft. You were not clear what lane you were supposed to be in. All right. So pack one, pick one. We see another return to the ranks. Yeah. All right. It's not letting me unselect the pick, which is kind of annoying. I don't want to see your pick all the way through. Okay, there we go. Right away. Okay, it's really interesting. Erode, when they printed this. Okay, so first of all, I should say I'm old. I drafted during Conflux. Path to Exile was my favorite card. It was new in Conflux, and I absolutely loved that card. I literally have like 13 Path to Exiles in my house that I picked in 2009. I have a long history of snapping up erodes. This is the same thing as erode. It just doesn't hit planeswalkers, and it exiles as opposed to destroying. So I have a long history of taking this card. It's really interesting though. So Swords to Plowshares, which Path to Exile is a riff on, this is the best removal spell ever printed in Magic. It's kind of a fun irony that the best removal spell ever printed in Magic is in white, but it's because it's from way before they ever knew like what you're supposed to have. There was no color pie in that time. So, okay, yeah, Thomas Matthew, you see exactly what I'm leading up to. So the fact that they took Swords to Plowshares and made it have like anything different, it does the same thing as Swords to Plowshares with a drawback. We already look at that card and think, okay, that's incredible. And average last CNAT of 2.5 bears that out. People are taking this card very, very early. But before, I think right before Secret of Strixhaven previews even dropped, I heard a LSV talk on LR. I heard an episode of Limited Resources podcast where LSV was riffing on whether Path to Exile, aka Erode, is even good enough for Vintage Cube anymore. Because he was saying it's just outclassed. And he was even saying he thinks that Oust, this card Oust, I just want the card Oust, not everything that has that string in its name. Put target creature into its owner's library second from the top, and the controller gains 3 life. He was saying he thinks this, at sorcery speed, mind you, he was saying he thinks this is a better removal spell in Vintage Cube than Path to Exile at this point. So that gives you a sense for where this is at in a very high power limited environment. The thing is, giving your opponent the land is a huge drawback early in the format. It is also a huge drawback specifically in this format, it turns out, because of Converge. I often don't even want to exile my opponent's threat when they're playing multiple colors, because I'm really worried I'm just going to fix them into something that will let them Snarl Song even more ferociously next turn. It's really, really good in the late game. When your opponent doesn't care about lands, they have a lot of lands, it becomes the best removal spell around turn 6, 7, 8, right? It becomes almost equivalent to Swords, one of the best removal spells in Magic, arguably even better in certain situations. But early in the game, it's disastrously bad. So all of that to say, this game in hand win rate, again, when we're talking about like where the data kind of cancel out, it's sometimes great, it's sometimes terrible. The way to interpret Erode's game in hand win rate, average 56.8%, I believe, is sometimes Erode is phenomenal. It's a 1-mana pew that just takes out the thing that's going to kill you. Sometimes it's atrocious. It's 1 mana, fix your opponent's Converge deck so that they're able to do whatever the heck they want, not just on curve, but you're ramping for them and giving them pips. So it cancels out to have an average game in hand win rate, but it's a very bimodal distribution. Sometimes awful, sometimes great. So all of that to say, I do think Erode is pretty good, but you just need to make sure that you're firing it off in the situations where it's good. Okay, long digression. Having said that, I would be on Elite Interceptor. I think Elite Interceptor is a card that's just always great. Okay, so you pick the Erode, I would pick Elite Interceptor. Okay, Jadzi turns out to be amazing. Forget about the whole Oracle's Gift thing. I don't even think that matters with this card. 2/4 for 3. When it enters, draw 2, discard 2. That's just awesome. That's just awesome. And then this Oracle's Gift thing is like, oh, and by the way, if you don't deal with this card that just fixed all of my mana, I'm going to win. So, or fixed all of my cards, gave me so much card selection. So yeah, this card earns its average last CNAT below 2. It is one of the best cards in the format. Having said that, in this pack, you have several of the other best cards in this format. Flow State is really good. Snarl Song is an absolute bomb. Looks like it has the highest win rate of any card in this pack. I wouldn't be surprised. Elite Interceptor, as we've just discussed, absolute bomb. So in this situation, I actually, what would I do? I mean, it's a really funny pack 1 pick 2. It's like, again, a personality test. Like, what direction do you want to go in? To be quite honest, I would have taken the Elite Interceptor here. And then when you show me this pack, I would just take Elite Interceptor. Because it's like, you know what? Starting out a draft with 2 Elite Interceptors is just such a good start. It just feels like a really nice place to be. Coming out of, if you ask me, coming out of pack 1 pick 2, how do you feel with 2 Elite Interceptors? I'd be like, that's awesome. That's an awesome outcome. We just saw that it has the same game in hand win rate of some of the flashiest mythics in the set. I would be thrilled. So I think I might just take that Elite Interceptor. Having said that, I would not for a second fault anyone who took Snarl Song or Jadzi. I think Snarl Song, look, it's clearly, it has an amazing win rate. It's a huge pull into Converge, but the probability that you actually part here, okay, we just talked a lot about the win rate, how to interpret win rate, so I won't go too long on this point. But for Snarl Song, this is another win rate that requires some discretion to interpret. Yes, it has a massively high win rate, but the thing is, it's obvious when your deck cannot support a Snarl Song. I bet you when they release the public dataset that shows us how often cards were picked and not played, that may even be available online right now, I would bet a lot of money that Snarl Song is very often being left on the sideboard because people understand I can't afford my Snarl Song. That means it's going in decks and getting drawn in situations where it's good, right? Because people already have had the filter of, should I even put this in my deck? Can I afford to play it? What that means is, when you look at its game in hand win rate, this is a card that's often going in decks where it is supported, and when it's played, it helps you win. You're not seeing the situations where someone puts it in a deck where it doesn't really go. That probably happens all the time with Jadzi, because Jadzi is just generically good. So I would say, and a little bit harder to figure out what its lane is. Should it go in a very controlling Izzet deck? Should it go in Izzet Tempo? Should it go in Simic? Should it be on the splash in a Converge deck, you know? So I would say Snarl Song, its win rate slightly overstates how good it is. That's my conjecture here. So having said that, I would take Elite Interceptor or Jadzi. I would actually put Snarl Song a little bit below just because of the probability that you end up being able to support it. And then I would say Flow State is below that. Okay. I think my Erode pick was influenced by Selesnya Landfall in the Pro Tour. That's so funny. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because you can like trigger your own landfall. That was ridiculous. Yeah, you bias blue. Well, I absolutely do as well. And that's part of why I try to convince myself to take Elite Interceptors and be boring. No offense to aggro-loving mages out there. It's actually very interesting to play aggro. Okay, what do we do here? Well, now we have a Jadzi and an Erode where I would have 2 Elite Interceptors. So we've already diverged a pretty interesting amount. So between Jadzi and Erode, we haven't really gotten any signals because we're up against Snarl Song and Elite Interceptor, etc. What do I do in this pack? Like, honestly, what do you take? Maybe just the Transcendent Archaic? We got past a Snarl Song into Transcendent Archaic. That might start to tell us something. That someone is down on Converge to our right. There's an Eager Glyph Mage, there's a Tome Blast, there's a Deduce. So Tome Blast, yeah, that's interesting. I think I would take the Transcendent Archaic. I really don't fault you for taking the Tome Blast here. It's just cheap removal. It goes with your Erode as cheap removal. So, okay, I can understand. I would have if I had taken the Elite Interceptor, I probably would have actually done the same thing. Taken the Tome Blast, maybe taken a Gearglyph Mage. I would probably be on double Elite Interceptor Tome Blast at this point. Given the start that you had, I might have gone towards Transcendent Archaic, but... Okay, and now we get now another personality test, because Stone Docent is a 3-1 for 2 that's synergistic in Lorehold. Just such a good card. Divergent Equation is arguably a little bit of a better card. I do think it has more of this thing that Snarl Song has, which is like you have a card where you're only going to play it in a very instant and sorcery deck where it's really good. Tiago, boa noite. Have a good night over there in Portugal. So Divergent Equation, I would be inclined to maybe take and just be like, hey, let's do Izzet Spell Sweetness. Sounds amazing. Izzet Spell Sweetness, yeah? But yeah, maybe the discipline pick is Stone Docent. I don't fault you for taking the Divergent Equation there. Honestly, though, in your shoes, I would have been on Elite Interceptor, Tome Blast, Stone Docent, probably. And I would just be drafting like the lowest to the ground white aggro given these packs. Okay, what do we have here? I love me an Essence Scatter. So yeah, let's go Jeskai Spells. That sounds super cool. Yeah, love me some Prismari, exactly. Arcane Omens. You know what? I like the pick of Arcane Omens. My only question is like, so it is following signals. There's a Snarl Song, there's a Transcendent Archaic, and then there is an Arcane Omens. So what happens? Like, what happens next? Are we going to get past tons of Converge, or is Converge going to get cut? Because this is now some kind of like Grixis sort of control situation, maybe? Yeah. You say you try to stay open too long. I mean, you're absolutely right that like I'm trying to piece together what we're doing into a story. Maybe too early. Maybe you should just take you should definitely at this point just take the best card in the pack. The only thing about that is I'm not sure that these were the best cards in the pack. Maybe, okay, we could say Jadzi. We could say Tome Blast is equivalent. Okay, sure. So you're just taking the best card in the pack. Respect. Awesome. That's a good way to draft. Okay. But then what's the best card here? Honestly, as much as I'm always ragging on Wander Off, it's got to be Wander Off, right? And you just took a black card? Yeah. All right, so we're mind melded now. I get what you're doing. I'm following. I'm with you. Now we get 2 white-black cards. Wouldn't that be awesome, though? Okay, we don't get to play the Arcane Omens. Oh, yeah, and we didn't take either Elite Interceptor. Okay, never mind. So what do we do now? Maybe Shattered Acolyte? I don't want to take Expressive Fire Dancer. I don't want to... I guess... So Chase Inspiration, I was way underestimating. It was performing amazingly in the Arena Direct because it's bomb protection. Maybe you just take this to go with your Jadzi, honestly. Like, you take this and you're going to play not that many creatures. It's a very spells-heavy deck with your Divergent Equation, your Tome Blast, Wander Off, Arcane Omens. Yeah, maybe I just take that as bomb protection. Or I just take Dreamroot Cascade. I don't have any reason to need to splash green yet, but maybe I'll come up with one. Okay, I don't hate that. I do think, you told me, so you kind of, maybe you just put this idea in my head. You said, I try to stay open too long. Maybe you tried to stay open too long. I guess it's just that, like, taking a land to me, if you have a reason to take a land, is a good thing to do. Like, if it's a land in colors that you might play, I do think often people console themselves. I'm not saying you were necessarily doing this, Thomas, but I do think people often console themselves with like, oh, there's nothing, I might as well just take a land, maybe someday I'll use it, when there's no realistic chance that you'll use it. If that happens to you already at pack 1 pick 7, you're probably not thinking of the colors that are actually the most open. I would say the Shattered Acolyte is the closest thing to a signal. Maybe, well, the Shattered Acolyte paired with the Imperious Mage and the Inkling Mascot. It's like I'm seeing a lot of cheap white stuff. My mind might be biased by those Elite Interceptors early on, but we're seeing a lot of cheap white stuff. Yeah, hedging for Converge might be it. That you want to go Converge because you saw the Snarl Song go by, you saw the Transcendent Archaic go by, you picked up the Arcane Omens. Here I might just take Rapturous Moment, though. I mean, we're kind of set up for some kind of Grixis control. I think that could be really fun to play. I don't know if it's the right thing to do. I feel like taking the lands is like too much of a it's like too much investment in something that may not ultimately end up happening. Taking a dual land for colors that you're likely to play is good. It's an investment in your mana base. Taking dual lands for colors that you're not likely to play, I would say these are these are like too little too late kind of thing. You know, I would rather just have a proactive direction that I'm going in and then make my mana better for the deck that I'm likely to end up with. Okay, enough said on that. And now we kind of get nothing. Spell, like this pack is empty. Geometer's Arthropod, it's not a signal, but it's kind of a signal. You know what I mean? Like the fact that we saw Snarl Song pack 1 pick 3 combined with seeing this Geometer's Arthropod all the way around here. Like it's not an atrocious card. It's a 1/4 for 2 that keeps you alive. And then if you do actually want to play something with X in its mana cost, that's like a good upside. It's just that you usually don't get to trigger it. But we're looking at Divergent Equation and also Jadzy's ability. I do think this is not nothing. So there's a good reason to be green-blue. And then, yeah, I'm with you on Send in the Past. Sure, we get a Tome Keeper, etc. Okay, what are we looking at here? So Deflecting Palm. Source of your choice will deal damage, prevent it, and then it deals that much damage to the source's controller. I would just be taking, oh yeah, there's Nita as well, which was like weirdly overperforming in Sealed, but I think probably settled down. I love Stirring Honormancer. Wow, I might have 3 Elite Interceptors at this point in this draft, depending on how things went. I'm probably just on Paradox Surveyor. It's just a good, responsible pick, and we just got a reason to think that green-blue is going to be open pack 3. And I'm really grasping at, like, what are my colors at this point? I don't think that the whole Grixis control thing has worked out by now. So I have a Geometer's Arthropod, a Divergent Equation, a Jadzy, and some dual lands. Yeah, why not just try to go green-based splashing? And that's what Paradox Surveyor lets you do. So I would be on Paradox Surveyor. I don't like... Oh, sorry, I'm concealing this with my video. I'm concealing what you actually picked. You picked the Paradox Gardens. I don't like picking a dual land here over Paradox Surveyor. When you are in pack 3 and you already have tons of playables, yes, I understand. But I think, are you the person who's drafting with cube players? I think they got in your head. In Premier Draft, we don't get this luxury of every single card late pack 2 and through all of pack 3 being a banger that can just like take over a game and deal 20 to your opponent, right? We're going to have to scrap for playables at some point. If we spend so long investing in dual lands, we're passing cards around that could be useful in our playables count and can actually threaten damage against an opponent, which is not every card in Premier Draft. Oh, that's not you. Okay. All right. Someone else was talking about the cube players getting in their head and drafting too many lands because of that. So you had a different reason. I think Paradox Surveyor is very similar to a dual land because it allows you to fix, but it has a downside that it requires a playable. Like you have to swap a card out for it. You don't just get to put it in your deck basically for free. It has the upside though that it's a creature. It's a 3/3 for 3 with reach, and that's absolutely not nothing. So I would be all over the Paradox Surveyor. Yeah, I would just be all over Paradox Surveyor here. Okay, what's the next pick? Dualcaster Mage is a really funny one. Probably I'm just taking the Noxious Newt at this point, or Run Behind. I'm just trying to lean green now and just take good interaction. You took a Run Behind. That's very similar to what I'm thinking. Let's see, Molten Note, Stress Dreams. I would probably be on Stress Dreams. Like, can we... But the problem is we have the blue-red land, so that helps us with our red fixing. The issue here is, oh yeah, you can get, yes, exactly. Getting a land with that is so important. When it enters, you'll get the top 5. You may reveal a land or a land with X. Yeah, so I think this is in many cases something to pick over a dual land because just probabilistically, it should fix you into whatever you need most of the time. Okay. Stress Dreams, not most of the time, but you know what I mean, enough of the time. Random question. So you can say whatever YouTube lets you say in there. I may or may not like read words back that you put in there. I mean, not whatever YouTube lets you say, within reason, respectfully. But if it's just a stray bit of non-bigoted profanity, that's like perfectly fine by me. Okay, so yeah, Stress Dream. But thank you for asking, Kentari. That was respectful of you. You could also take Potioner's Trove, I guess, if you're still wanting to go in the Converge direction. But to be honest with you, we badly need a direction for this draft. I don't know what the plan of the deck is. I know we've taken a lot of sweet-looking cards, but I would say we need a plan as soon as possible. Am I playing a base green deck? Oh yeah, Naveen, that's a word I'm incapable of repeating that here, or I'm going to get permabanned. Okay. So We need a plan, right? We need some kind of creatures or something. So here I'm probably taking, I might even want to like snap up a pest mascot. Yeah, I guess I could go green black. We've seen reason to think that green black might be open, or at least that black might be open. And also green blue. Maybe I could go some kind of Sultai value, but I'm looking for like anything that makes sense. So stress stream, okay. But then I think we need to commit. We need to immediately commit. Could be grapple with death, could be flow state, could be cost of brilliance, but it's decision time. What direction are we going? Flow state. I love it. Then let's be Prismari spells. What a weird pack. What's everyone doing here? I can see why this is a bit of a chaotic draft. We have Matter Bending Mage, a top blue card. Feed the Swarm, at least a good, it's at least a removal spell. A Johnny's Response, a genuinely great removal spell. We have a dual land. Those are the options, and I would be all over Matter Bending Mage, and I'd view it as an absolute gift here. Kind of sad to see the Johnny's Response go by when we had the option of taking so many Elite Interceptors, but that's what it is. I do think our Chaomancer is good. Game in hand win rate 53%. Don't let that fool you. It's a complicated card to play, but I think there are definitely ways that you can take advantage of an Archaeomancer. There's Embrace the Paradox in here, but it seems like we're committing to Izzet spells, so let's just go for it. I'm on Archaic's Agony for that reason. All right, and you're with me. I mean, also Archaeomancer would be good in Izzet spells, right? Now we get Group Project. Oh, this is rough stuff. I wish that we were white-based aggro, but Zealous Lorecaster is not the worst, so if I'm in Izzet spells, I'm going to go for the Lorecaster. Okay, I respect the coherence. Elite Interceptor, pick 8. I'm not going to get back on this soapbox. It actually looks like during the course of this stream, Elite Interceptor has fallen by 0.1% game in hand win rate. So maybe just to prove me wrong, all of you went out into Draft World, pack one, pick one this guy, and lost in the course of this stream. But it's just an insult to see the Elite Interceptor here. Okay, Embrace the Paradox, Form of Amity, Run Behind, blah, blah, blah. I guess Tackle Artist is fine. Like, we're going in so... Oh, Big 9? What is happening? What is everyone doing? Yeah, I don't even know how much we need to go into the details after this, because I think the lesson is very clear here, right? Somewhere along the way, you missed the boat on white aggro. So can we follow that thread? There's an Elite Interceptor, an Eager Glyph Mage, for example, a Stone Docent. Yeah. Sneering Shade Rider or whatever. Like, this is not a good white aggro pack. Wander Off. So we could, if we were black-white, we'd be happy to see that. Black-white here as well. Black-white here as well. Black-white here as well. Yeah, right? So basically, the thread of this draft, it's very simple. There's a Stirring Honormancer and Elite Interceptor. We could have had a totally sweet white-black deck. Eager Glyph Mage. There's a Potioner's Apprentice, which is not good, but it exists. Pick 8 Abigail, where you would have switched to black-white. I think that's absolutely right. There's a Cost of Brilliance and a Barag Banemaker, but especially Cost of Brilliance is a great card. Here's a Feed the Swarm, and a Johnny's Response is even better. And then we get an Abigail. Yeah, we could have had an awesome black-white deck. That's the truth here. Then we get Group Project so late. Elite Interceptor up against Nito, which is not anything, but then there's an Ennis, a Barag Banemaker. We're getting playable still at pick 12. Pack 3, I don't know how this is going to go for us, but I don't think that we need to... Okay, you get Emeritus of Abundance into Together as one, with a Paradox Surveyor as a dessert, and then a Force of Will. And by the way, also, there's a black-white land here. Yeah, the Inkling into Abigail would have pivoted. Yeah, I agree. The Converge deck was almost sweet. Exactly, Teamwork. That's a great way of putting it. Thomas, I'm exactly right with you on like personal bias towards blue, not playing that much aggro. What I've been doing to challenge myself on that front, and I'll actually, I'm just going to like page through this and then I'll tell you. Moment of Reckoning. Okay, this is the best card in the format. I actually think that this is the best card in the format. Seriously. It's slightly below Together as One, Arc of Hunger, Emeritus of Ideation, Practice Offense, Antiquities on the Loose. But I just think it's the best one. I think once you take it, you can construct your deck in such a way that you get to cast it a lot of the time. And then the game in hand win rate, conditional on being in a deck where you have like the ability to cast it consistently, is like inches up enough to make it the best card in the format, in my opinion. I just think this card is absolutely out of control. It just instantly wins most of the time. So to see it pick 5 means black-white was a wide open lane alongside Elite Interceptor and Cost of Brilliance. So I won't, but I won't keep hammering on that point. I think we all get it now. But yeah, that's definitely a lesson. So let me tell you, Thomas, and I'm going to do 2 more rapid fire draft reviews after this. And then it's time to go rest my weary voice. So basically what I've been doing for aggro to play more aggro is you never want to say, I'm going to draft aggro in this draft, because then you're forcing, and then you're going to lose, and then you're not going to get good practice, and then you're going to have a bad, sad experience, and then you're going to not draft aggro next time, right? So you don't want to do that. So what I do is I say, in the next 6 drafts, I'm going to draft aggro 3 times. If I draft aggro in the first one, then I have 5 drafts left to draft aggro twice. You know, if I don't draft it in the first one, I've put off my budget of drafting aggro, and then I'm making it more likely that I'm going to have to force in the future. So now I have an incentive where I'm like, okay, I have to like really keep an eye out for aggro here, because I said I would draft 3 aggro decks in 6 drafts, and I've only drafted 1, and I have 4 drafts left or whatever. Don't fact check me on the arithmetic here, but basically it's like, now if I don't draft it now, it adds up so that I probably have to force aggro next time, and I really don't want to be in that position because I'm going to lose gems, or I'm going to lose Friday Night Magic. So that really gives me a kick in the pants to just like keep an eye out for an aggro deck, because if it doesn't materialize this time, I'd better hope it will materialize next time so that I don't have to force it. So I definitely recommend doing something like that. That has been working out really nicely for me. I've actually had some of my best results in this set from aggro by far. And I cannot say that about, I don't know, Avatar. I kind of already started doing this during Lorwyn and definitely during Ninja Turtles. But if you flash back to like Avatar, I think I probably almost literally never drafted aggro in that set. Yeah, aggro deck has vegetables, Naveen. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Because like, I actually do enjoy it, but I also know that I'm worse at it, and that makes me way less likely to want to do it. But as you do it more, you get better at it, because that's what practice is. Okay. All right. 2 more drafts. And thank you so much, Thomas, for submitting that. And thank you so much, everyone, for submitting your drafts today. Everyone who submitted a draft, really, really appreciate it. All right. Get a sip of water. Okay. Old Growth Educator. This was, I know who this belonged to. Chad. Chad did the Old Growth Educator. Okay, Chad, I'm going to go rapid fire through yours. Hope you had a good time I think you went to Sealed League. I'm on Strixhaven Sky Coach, pack 1, pick 1. It's way less committal. Cool, Thomas. Yep, awesome. Thanks so much for submitting. Pack 1, pick 1, I would be all over the Strixhaven Sky Coach. I do like me a flashback, but it specifically goes in the Is It Spells deck. Old Growth Educator, I'm not very high on. 4/4 for 4 without a protection ability like Ward or an Enters the Battlefield effect. They just have a habit of dying like before you can really make use of them. So I'm not so high on Old Growth Educator. Also, it's more committal because it specifically goes in a green-black deck. So here, I'm all over Strixhaven Sky Coach. If that weren't in the pack, I don't even know what I would do. You don't have a very good pack here, but I'm happy the Sky Coach is in there. That's what I would be taking. Pack 1, pick 2. Is Topiary Lecturer doing well? I'm not sure. It might be on like the Newt. Actually, what is the win rate on Topiary Lecturer? It's like perfectly average. I mean, I'm partial to a Rapturous Moment, but I don't think I'm going to pick that pack 1, pick 2. What else have we got here? We've got a dual land. Yeah. I mean, I'm either on the Newt or on Topiary Lecturer. They kind of go nicely with my Strixhaven Sky Coach, but even if you just took the black-green one, they go with that. But also, we shouldn't even think too much about that. I guess also Hop to It. I like starting out white in this set. Maybe I would just take Hop to It. But I think, you know, Lecturer, Newt, Hop to It, I'm somewhere in there. If I had just taken a Strixhaven Sky Coach and I'm dropped into this pack 1, pick 2, what would I take? Maybe the Newt. I like 2 drops. Yeah, maybe the Newt. Poisoner's Apprentice. So already I am getting the impression that you, Chad, are someone who really likes black green. Because like Poisoner's Apprentice is kind of a secret gold card. this is a card that goes with Old Growth Educator in the black-green deck and nowhere else. So you have so far expressed a very strong preference to be black-green. I would just ask yourself, do you have a bias toward that color pair? Because that could already sort of explain if a deck ends up sort of like in a middling result and you feel like okay about it. It could just mean you're a little bit too much in your comfort zone. Yes, Naveen, hop to it, my aggro love. I tried drafting that and Duty Beyond Death, or no, not that one. What is it? The sacrifice a creature and put +1/+1 counters. That was like one of my very first drafts. I had 2 hop 2-its and I was like, Duty Beyond Death is going to be sweet. I'm going to buff my whole team. And then I just never wanted to cast it. It just never felt that good. Kind of like Requisition Raid, I guess. Oh, hey, speak of Requisition Raid. Okay, what do we see here? So we've taken 2 green-black cards. I'm still inclined to take the best card in the pack, but I think the best card in the pack is probably the Sloth, or it could be the Studious First Year. I accidentally revealed that you picked the Studious First Year. I mean, I love Studious First Year, but in the black-green deck especially, I probably am more inclined to want the Sloth. Yeah, I think the Sloth is just my favorite card in this pack, so I think I would take the Sloth here. But it would go with your black-green preference. Here, I think we actually have a pretty clear signal. I mean, Cuboid Colony is technically a signal. I don't think I've seen a single person pick a Cuboid Colony today. I mean, this is a good card. I think Simic is underdrafted right now. From the format evolution video that I posted, I actually think people would win more games if they pick Simic. Okay, but Rapid Fire, I'm on Group Project. That's a signal. Group Project is a signal. Shared Roots is fine, but it specifically goes in the Converge deck. Just like Studious First Year is more happy in the Converge deck. You've just taken 2 cards that strongly suggest that you want to be black-green. And then you take a Shared Roots. I would just point out those are maybe for different green archetypes. But I would be taking the Group Project. Okay, now we do get a Converge card. But I think probably the best card in this pack is Electring Scorn Mage. This card is just bonkers. Every time I play it, I'm so happy. So let's see what you took. Melancholic Poet, take the 1-drop. Strong 1-drops are gold. So I would be on the Scorn Mage. Okay, what about this? Form of Amity, Pursue the Past turns out to be the strongest common in the format. And we got this signal from Group Project, so we are starting to get Lorehold signals. Also, Silver Quill signals, but some kind of white aggro is what is most open in your seat. Pursue the Past is the most winning common in the format, though I will say Lecturing Scorn Mage, a very good card as well. And then we get another Pursue the Past and a Lorehold Charm and a black-white land. White aggro is where we should be at. So I feel like some signals are being missed here, and Mindful Biomancer is much lower on my list than those other cards are. Here, I would take Pursue the Past, and I would just say around here, see if you're missing an initial signal. I think the initial signal where I first wanted to hop to white was Group Project. Okay, Empty the Warrens. It could be sweet, but Johnny's response has got to be the pick, right? I'm just snapping up the white removal. Yeah, follow the Lumerets. So Chad, I already have a diagnosis for you. And I said this would be rapid fire. So I'm going to basically move quickly through the rest of this and go on to the next one. We're getting Spirit Mascot like last pick. Holy smokes, Spirit Mascot up against Stone Docent. And then an Owlin Historian literally last pick. Tragedy Feaster is not actually that great a card either. You can just get into a situation where you end up sacrificing so much of your own stuff. I think a Braid is really, really good. And Startled Relic Sloth as well is in here. Another Startled Relic Sloth. We're getting past Silver Quill, Last Gasp, Render Speechless, Rabble Rouser, the 3rd best common in the format. There's an Unsubtle Mockery in here. So yeah, okay, Chad. I strongly think that you went into this draft with a preference to be green-black, and then you were kind of green-black at all costs. So I would say this is a situation where 2 steps. Number 1, look back over your last bunch of drafts and see if you're someone who is tending towards green-black a lot. And also see if you do multiple green-black drafts in a row, or green-black drafts when you're more tired, or if your green-black drafts tend to go worse for you in their results. The second thing that I would say is make sure that you're looking at signals, because there were a lot of signals, I think, starting pretty early that white aggro is open. So that's my 2-step plan for you. But you know, good work turning this into a 3-3. It looks like you put together a very fast deck. I do think this is pretty 2-drop heavy. Like these Shared Roots, for example, what are they kind of leading up to? You would want to do Shared Roots if your plan is to ramp into something big. Yeah, thank you, Cam. Have a good night. Thanks so much for being in here. I really appreciate your positive attitude, all the things that you've said. Okay, so Chad, that is my advice to you. One last draft, and then I too will be going to bed. So pack one, pick one. I'm on Slumbering Trudge. This is the draft of our dear friend, I think Nine Tails Studios, or your name is something like that. Please don't hate me if I got that wrong. Nine something studio shared this draft, I believe. Okay, so this pack, we start off with a Slumbering Trudge. Love the Trudge. 6/6 for 1, you say? I'm in. Not too committal. Yeah, so I'm very happy with that. Pursue the Past, as we've discussed, is great. Saner is great. Yeah. Oh yeah, also, someone said, yes, Thomas, my lesson from the stream today, Elite Interceptor is good. I'll make that the title of the video. Okay, Slumbering Trudge. Arcane Omens maybe is the next pick. Could be a Noxious Newt. I'm just taking Arcane Omens. I love that card. I love Arcane Omens. Great Hall of the Biblioplex is fun. It does help you splash. It turns into a creature when you need it. So I don't hate that. I don't hate that. Okay. Super Expert. Okay, yeah. Super Expert, ping me next time I do this. Let me know that I didn't get to it this time, and I'll put you early in the queue. Okay, Paradox Surveyor, Cost of Brilliance, Essence Knit Scholar. We have lots of good options. Probably I'm going to be on the Essence Knit Scholar. I love that it's a 3-for-1. It's way better than Tragedy Feaster, for example. Cost of Brilliance and Paradox Surveyor, I would not fault anyone for taking them. Thank you, Super Expert. Really appreciate that. That's very nice of you. So I would not take Tragedy Feaster here just for a raw card quality reason. Essence Knit Scholar is just better. It's so easy to contrive a situation where you play this card, it's a 3-1, you get a 1-1, and a creature already died this turn, like you went to combat and it already died. And then you just get a card back. So 3-1, 1-1, and draw a card for 3. Yeah, that's a really good card. Cost of Brilliance is not that far behind in terms of the sheer efficiency. Neither is Paradox Surveyor. So any of these cards I'd be all over. Paradox Surveyor is kind of nice with Slumbering Trudge. So yeah, I would be on one of those 3 cards over the Tragedy Feaster. So that's just a card quality thing. I would say this card looks really good. It's like a rare 7 power. It has fancy ward ability. It's not actually as good as it looks. It doesn't win that often. Okay, I love the Snooping Page. This card is just, if you build around it, this card is so good. I think there's another situation where it can be amazing or it can be terrible and it averages out to have an average game in hand win rate. You can make this card amazing. Just put some removal spells in your deck and it's so good. Bitter Triumph is really good as well, as we discussed before. I talked a lot about this card early in the stream. Melancholic Poets, Sneering Shade Rider, etc. I'm on Snooping Page, like no questions asked. Oh, actually, like Bitter Triumph, I don't hate that either. I would be between those two. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, Bitter Triumph. I have no issue with that at all. Okay, Planar Engineering is a card I've really wanted to make work. It seemed good in Sealed, actually, for some of my Converge opponents. So we're actually getting some Converge signals, right? There's Planar Engineering, Transcendent Archaic. There's also an Unsubtle Mockery. Titan's Grave. I'm just taking the Transcendent Archaic probably. Or do I just take Unsubtle Mockery? That might be it. Like, I kind of have to give up everything that I'm doing because it doesn't go with any of my cards, but is that already a signal? Maybe I take Transcendent Archaic because it could go in the deck with all this other stuff I'm already doing. So yeah, I guess I want Transcendent Archaic, but a really disciplined drafter might just take Unsubtle Mockery. I'm a medium disciplined drafter. The dual land, I think it just gives up too much equity. Again, a dual land in colors that you're likely to play is really valuable. You are somewhat likely to play these colors, but we really have no idea. That Slumbering Charge was pack 1, pick 1, and we don't know if we're going to end up in green. So I would prefer to just take a good card here and not like taking a land is kind of like a buy, just taking a pass and saying, I'm not really going to do something here. And I think it's a little too early for that. However, Pestbrood Sloth and Foolish Fate, these are both very, very good cards. I would take one of those. I'm guessing you did, and you did. So, hey, maybe we're getting rewarded for committing to green-black. I was going to say I'll take Send in the Pest, but the Biomancer is fine. Okay, Royal Treatment. I like this card a lot, so I'd be very happy to take that here. You could say maybe you're just supposed to take Cuboid Colony. I don't hate that. Yeah, you took it. I don't hate that. It doesn't go in the same deck as all this other stuff, though, so it introduces a little bit of a mess. I think Royal Treatment is just a great card to play kind of no matter what. Paradox Gardens, Wild Hypothesis, Sleight of Hand. Paradox Gardens, I guess, is fair enough. But now we're kind of really stacking up the lands. So, like, here's a Paradox Gardens into a Titan's Grave. Now you're really being committal to trying to play Sultai specifically. you're taking fixing as though you need this fixing to make your Sultai deck work, but we don't even know if we want to be Sultai. Maybe I'm just supposed to be green blue, or maybe I'm just supposed to be green black. Like I could take a royal treatment into, I guess, maybe Fractal Mascot, or maybe I take Paradox Guardians because I'm seeing a lot of green and blue, so speculating on just being Izzet, but then I'm kind of giving up on these 3 good black cards that we invested in early. So it's kind of at odds with previous picks, if you know what I mean. Then Titan's Grave. Getting this Paradox Surveyor is a huge signal. I definitely think Simic is underdrafted right now. The moment I see this, I'm going to be thinking Simic. We saw a late Cuboid Colony into Paradox Surveyor. We got lucky because we pack one, pick one to Slumbering Trudge. So I'm thinking Simic with a splash now. That may very well be where you ended up. Landscape Painter, then we get a Planar Engineering. That's kind of cool. So we could do some kind of Converge, Turbo Converge. Jadzi, I'm absolutely with you on that one. I should turn off the pics though. So I'm absolutely with you on that one. There's the Striker, which is fine. A Newt. Brotherhood's End is sweet. This is the deal 3 to everything. And yeah, Brog Banemaker is whatever. You know, there's some playables. There's a Startled Relic Sloth, but this is just random. I'm all over that, Jadzi. And it looks like you are too. So I'm thinking I'm green-blue at this point, and I'm not going to play my black cards. Or the Great Hall plus double Titan's Grave gave us options to play one of these, like splash one of these as a pip. I love the green 3-drop that draws a land. It's so good, Naveen. Absolutely. Paradox Surveyor, it's so good. That's a signal for sure. Okay, there's a Suspend Aggression, Stress Dream, Cost of Brilliance. I'm just taking Cost of Brilliance here, or maybe I want the Newt, but I think Cost of Brilliance is better enough that I'm just taking it. It is, of course, better in the repartee aggro decks, but this kind of deck in a Simic deck, actually, I'm sorry, what did I just say? We need to commit to Simic. We need to commit to Simic, and now my mind is wandering to all these beautiful possibilities. So I would snap up the Noxious Newt, because I'm committing to Simic, and you did the same. Okay, very good. Shared Roots. Okay, Simic is looking a little touch and go. We are getting a group project now. Overgrown Pest was, what a card that Overgrown Pest was. It was so overgrown. For those who don't know, the Overgrown Pest, it enters, you look at the top 5, you get a land or a double face card, and you put them in. One of the best commons in March of Machine, and very similar, as Naveen points out, to the Paradox Surveyor. Except this one is a 3/3 that comes with reach. Okay. I'm on Embrace the Paradox. I'm embracing the Paradox Surveyor. You could do Shared Roots to go with your Planar Engineering, I guess, but then you are really trying to turbo out a Converge plan. So we better see some Converge payoffs. I'm probably more thinking at this point that I want to be a more standard Simic deck. So maybe I'm taking like Banishing Betrayal to just try to get some stats down and disrupt the opponent's tempo. But honestly, maybe your point is like, I can take the Shared Roots, I can play my 2 green-black lands and a swamp, and I have Planar Engineering. That lets me take the Foolish Fate here. So I guess I could see that. We're going for full-on Sultai value. Now I guess I take Cuboid Colony. I think Cuboid Colony is enough of a payoff that you don't want to pass it here. In my personal judgment, I think this game plan is only going to work if you're really able to land the fixing. And look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ways of fixing, 7 ways of fixing already. So now I think we can kind of just say, we can make it very likely that we can draw enough swamps. Let's get a good green-blue shell. Remember, when you're drafting 3 colors, you don't want your colors to be spread out evenly across all 3 colors. You should be thinking of this as, I'm going to make a base green-blue deck, because that's where my fixing is based out of, and I'm going to splash black. And black, I'm specifically splashing Bitter Triumph, maybe 1 Foolish Fate, maybe 2 Foolish Fates, and not playing the Tragedy Feaster. That's how you get a coherent deck. So if this ends up in a position where we have a ton of fixing so that we can play 3 colors evenly, then I'm going to say we should have taken the Cuboid Colony here. And here we get another Cuboid Colony, which I'm all over taking. All right, and you do as well. Very good. I would take a Banishing Betrayal. Oh, or Barrage Barrage. That's fine. Yeah, some 2-mana interaction. Sure. I'm all over Noxious Newt here. Yeah, looks great. Paradox Gardens. See, the thing is, like, we don't even really want Fractal Tender. This card turns out to be a little harder to turn on than I was expecting. The +1/+1 counter is not like something you can do every turn. So now we just got the Paradox Gardens back. So we didn't need to invest in the Dreamroot Cascade. We could have had this like really strong uncommon Cuboid Colony instead. So I assume you took the dual land. Oh, you took the Fractal Tender. Yeah, see, now here is why I thought we should take the Cuboid Colony earlier. Over here, we took a green-blue land over Cuboid Colony. Over here, we took Fractal Tender over Paradox Gardens. What that means is you effectively took Fractal Tender over Cuboid Colony. Now, that's a probabilistic thing. You didn't know that that would happen, but that's why I think you took a land too early. The land was going to come to you anyways, so you ended up with a worse card than you would have had if you had taken the land a little bit later. Just postponed that choice a little bit later. Okay, sure. Yeah, we have like nothing in this pack. Nothing in this pack. Banishing Betrayal is a card. Nothing in this pack. Nothing there. Antiquities on the loose. Okay, well, you did the discipline thing. You cannot take Antiquities on the loose. You cannot splash double white, even with all of your splashing. I would sit here staring at it for 45 seconds, thinking about whether I can, and then of course you can't. So stock up is awesome. Not that far behind Antiquities on the loose in terms of card quality, in my opinion. Yeah, so I guess we're happy to see a stock up. I don't have a big issue with how you drafted this at all. I mean, I do think I would have picked things in a slightly different order, but right when I really said, you know what, you have to make a decision now, you did. So I think I probably would have ended up with a very similar deck than you. Here, I guess you take Quandrix Charm, but you could maybe do Traumatic Critique and Splash. It does put more stress on your mana base. Now, I don't blame you for trying it though. Getting an Environmental Scientist is a great sign that you're in the right lane, together with Embrace the Paradox as well. And then we have Essence Scatter is a good card, Banishing Betrayal, another Planar Engineering. I guess I'm taking Essence Scatter for sure. Planar Engineering, so what are we doing with this? You're doing so much ramp. You have double Newt, shared roots, you have Planar Engineering. What are we ramping up to? That's my question. What are we ramping up to, right? So I know that Essence Scatter is not something to ramp up to, but maybe we take Orisa, maybe we take Hungry Graphalon. I guess maybe you're still thinking of setting up the Tragedy Feaster, but I don't think that's a good idea. Whoa! All right, pack 3, pick 6, Snarl Song. Great job getting into the right lane. You found a lane that paid you off for sure. Let's see. Spectacle Summit, I guess I would take to facilitate my Traumatic Critique. So you got all the lanes that you needed. You know what? This draft just went well. Like Tremor Cascade, Banishing Betrayal. I just think you were where you needed to be. We're wheeling Transcendent Archaic. You had a good read on the table. There is a wilt in there's like random good stuff in white aggro here, but okay. Quandrix Charm comes back to us on the wheel. Embrace the Paradox, yeah. Or Barrage Barrage, you could take either one. Yeah, I actually really like, wow. Even what I said is not true because you ended up filling in your top end, pick 12 and pick 13 and pick 14. You didn't even need to invest. No, this was a beautifully piloted draft. I had some nitpicks along the way, that thing about the Cuboid Colony, whatever, but this was just a good job. And I can see that you got there in, you got a 5-3 in the end, which is a good record. When you make gems, you don't feel like you lost. I will say, I guess you were thinking of playing the Tragedy Feaster. I don't know that you need to. I might just play Orisa and not take the hit to my mana base. This card is not that great. Now you have Fractal Tender, Traumatic Critique, Terrafractal, Snarl Song, Transcendent Archaic, Cuboid Colony, Slumbering Trudge, and Jadzi. These are all win conditions. Stock up is basically a win condition. So like you don't need to do the double black pip thing. If any of these losses were to not being able to play a Tragedy Feaster, I would say that's a signal to play the Orisa. I also think Quandrix Charm is perfectly fine. These Quench effects counter target spell unless they pay 2 for 2 mana in blue, which is like pretty common. Quench is just a good card recently. And this is like slightly more restrictive mana, but that's not an issue for you. And yeah, Quench. Was there a point before pack 3 where Converge was definitively open? Yeah, I don't think so. I think it was just a great read. As you say, Naveen, incredible read, to be honest. Absolutely. I think that was great. I didn't really see where this draft was going, but it ended up being like you were just ahead of the curve on identifying where you needed to be. So good job. I think that was 9 something Studio was the drafter here. Thank you so much for submitting. 9 Tails Production. Sorry. Pretty sure that was your draft. If it wasn't you, sorry to you and to whoever's draft this was. Okay, folks. Woo, that was a 3.5 hour draft review stream in the books. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I don't know if there's like a way to, I know on Twitch you can like raid people. I don't know how to do that thing. So please go, over to a worthy streamer if you're still in the mood to be watching streams. I better figure out if that's a feature that exists. tomorrow I'm going to be posting a draft that I referred to several times where I had a really fun time building around a set. If you're not subscribed, of course, I would, think we are all getting better at Magic through this kind of effortful draft analysis, draft review, and gameplay. So hope to see you subscribe to the channel and in the community Discord, where we have an entire game review section. If I didn't get to your draft today, you can just post it in the game review section and someone will dig in, I'm sure. Thank you so much, Ravine, and thanks so much everyone for watching. Really appreciate it. Have a good night.